deficient by inspectors in October. That's 6 months after a work stop order was issued because the lumber being used was found to be not fire resistant. Ogden Mayor Mike Caldwell tells KSL.com the partially built structure in the middle of historic 25th Street is now set for demolition.
Caldwell says a permit to take down the building has not yet been requested. Your money at this moment. Right now, the Dow's up 21 points. We're at 36,599. Coming up, sunny skies today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. A computer can be one of the best holiday gifts imaginable. It can bring such joy and happiness. Have you ever had a computer problem and had to call Chumbawamba for service? Then you're placed on hold forever. Finally, when someone in Chumbawamba answers the phone, they tell you that your on-site warranty is some delivery guy picking up your computer and that you have to wait 2 months for them to tell you that your software problem isn't covered. You end up paying a huge bill, and on top of that, when you get your computer back, all your pictures and data are gone. That's brain damage. Avoid that pain this holiday season and just get into PC Laptops, where we give you a lifetime service guarantee for free on any PC Laptops computer. Now that's comfort and peace of mind. Oh yeah, we're doing 0 down, 0 interest until 2025 OAC. So check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com, where we love you.
Last year, other dealers were charging up to $10,000 over MSRP, but those cars haven't held their value. I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown. If you owe more on your car than it's worth, exchange it.
Is your car payment too much? Exchange it. Is your interest rate too high? Exchange it. Want a better price? You guessed it. Exchange your vehicle at Volkswagen Southtown today. We've got rates as low as 2.99 APR, low leases, and thousands off MSRP.
Come and see us or visit us at VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI on approved credit.
In 400 AD, a forgotten time in ancient America, warrior prophet Moroni must preserve the history of his fallen nation while being hunted by a ruthless tyrant.
Where is the brave general now?
From Freestyle Releasing and Great Scott Entertainment comes
the memory of my God,
The Oath,
my faith and my freedom, my wife and my son.
The Oath, now playing in theaters. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. More information is available at oathmovie.com.
You can't expect a policeman to unclog your drain. You shouldn't ask a teacher to change your oil. And you wouldn't want a fireman to clean your teeth. So why would we let politicians take over our internet service? That's just not what they do. Experience proves government-run networks mean waste, corruption, and failure. One example, called Utopia, promised to provide internet service in 16 cities within a few years. But over 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars later, a better name would be dystopia. They say it's almost complete. We say stop wasting our money. Go to nogovinternet.com and tell lawmakers enough is enough. Local tax dollars are precious, and public employees have plenty to do already. Don't let politicians mess with our internet. Paid for by nogovinternet.com, a project of Domestic Policy Caucus.
Every 2 seconds, someone in Utah needs blood. Help save a life with ARUP, the sole provider to University and Huntsman Cancer Hospitals. 2 locations and donor perks. Visit utahblood.org.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Jason Jones.
The delays have sort of spread out now northbound I-15 through the Salt Lake Valley, and you just kind of have patches as you head up towards downtown Salt Lake City. Too many to mention, but none of them like real serious. Eastbound on the 201 approaching the west side belt, you're still finding a little bit of slowing there. Southbound I-15 looking pretty decent in Davis County, maybe on and off the brakes a couple of times in the Farmington area and down through Centerville, and a little bit of northbound slowing on Legacy Parkway in the Centerville area. That's due to that construction zone there. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now today will be sunny with a high of 43 degrees. Temperatures are going to continue to go up into the mid to upper 40s as the 7 days go on. Right now it's 34 degrees in Salt Lake City at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
And we have a lot of really big stories developing in communities all over Utah. Dave, we've got Tooele City making an announcement, a big announcement that residents are not happy with regarding their animal shelter and what they plan to do there. We've got a situation in Midvale that's unfolding between neighbors. We're going to go deep in the 10 o'clock hour on that, on alleged, racial slurs that have been lodged at neighbors in that neighborhood, in that community. So we've got the attorney for one family lined up to call the show and the police department. So we're hyper local today.
Yeah, welcome back. Great to have you. And yeah, it is all in today. In 9:07, it's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are three things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Hunter Biden was in Washington today, ready to talk about his business dealings. He just had one condition. He wasn't going to do it behind closed doors. And Republicans said, yeah, no, thank you. That's not your decision. I'm glad to have Representative Blake Moore calling in the show to help sort it all out for us at 9:35.
Yeah, and also there's going to be an impeachment inquiry vote of whether or not to look into the financial dealings of Hunter Biden and whether or not the president benefited or not. I want to know how Representative Moore is going to vote on that.
Countdown. 2.
Videos on social media that have garnered quite a bit of attention paint a picture of a neighborhood in Midvale where a family says they've been harassed, including their child has been harassed. And the mom of this family took to social media to say that one of her neighbors screams racial profanities at the family, walks by their home regularly, spitting on their cars. They recorded some videos. This is happening in Midvale. So we're going to talk to the Unified Police Department about what they're doing, if they can do anything about it. And we've also found out the family has retained an attorney. So he's calling the show as well in the 10 o'clock hour.
She's willing to say vile, horrible things on camera because she thinks it doesn't matter here. Because for a long time it hasn't. And that's the sad reality of it.
Terrible neighbors, this is not a news story. Feuds and fights between neighbors, terrible things being said, this is not new. So at what point did this cross the line?
Launch. Countdown. 1.
All right, Tooele residents, you're up. You're up first this morning because there's a controversy brewing in your city. If you don't carry a badge, so if you're not a cop, if you're not an animal control officer, you are banned from bringing an unwanted pet or a stray animal that you find wandering the streets to the city animal shelter. The city posted this to Facebook, that it's getting out of the pet rescue and pet adoption business effective yesterday. The comments, Dave, on the Facebook post are on fire.
I kind of get it. I kind of like it. There's a couple of things going on. Number one, animal shelters are used far too often as a convenience. Hey, you know what? I'm tired of owning a dog. It's convenient. I'm going to just drop him off at the animal shelter. And the animal shelter is saying, we don't have any more room. We don't have any more resources to handle this. So unless it's somebody official, like a police officer, animal control, to me, it kind of makes sense.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
If you don't like what Dave just said, you'll have your chance to voice your opinion when we take live phone calls in the next few minutes. But one poster on Facebook, on the Tooele City's Facebook post about their change, and we're going to talk about the change to their animal services policy, calls it insanity. The city dropped this announcement on Facebook yesterday that it's changing its mission so the taxpayer-funded animal shelter won't take in pets from the public.
Yes, and there are situations that I'm sympathetic to. If you see a wandering animal and they're clearly lost or they're in distress, you want to be able to scoop up that animal, take them somewhere to be cared for. They have microchips where they can try to track down the owner. I understand that. That makes total sense to me. Far too often, I think people are tired of having their Christmas puppy. Oh, you know what? Owning a puppy is not all sunshine and rainbows. They get tired. They're expensive. Maybe the dog's getting a little too old, so they just want to drop it off. They just want to drop, and they just do that. And we have made it so easy for people to abandon their animals that it has flooded our animal shelters.
So let's talk about this new policy that the city of Tooele posted yesterday on Facebook. And in a moment, we'll get into what the commenters have to say about it. So the city shelter, by my read of it, is now closed, as of yesterday, to the public to bring in animals. Unless you carry a badge. So unless you're a police officer, maybe you've been to a crime scene where there's an animal and you need to take the animal away. Maybe the animal has attacked somebody. You need to get the animal to the shelter. So if you're not a cop and you're not with animal control, you have to go finding a rescue shelter to accept that animal, whether it's an unwanted pet, whether somebody in your family died and they had Fido and nobody can afford to take in Fido. What if it's a stray? I mean, Tooele's got a lot of open land out there. What if it's a stray you happen to find because somebody dumped the pet they didn't want in the middle of the West Desert? So you have to go find a rescue shelter to accept the animal. But the city, in its post, I didn't see it provide a list of where those rescue shelters are. So several people were commenting, Dave, that those rescue shelters, wherever they may be, don't have space either. And some of them are run out of homes and they don't have the money to take on the responsibility of this.
Absolutely. And if I'm in a rescue shelter, I'm not sure I want the city, the state, the county advertising that, hey, I'll take all the animals because they have resources as well, right? So if I'm a rescue shelter, I'm not sure I want them advertising for me.
And then furthermore, on its post, on its Facebook post, the city of Tooele calls this a new chapter. It says, while we've been dedicated to rescue and adoption services in the past, we're evolving to better serve the needs of our residents, and that this strategically aligns with their commitment to prioritizing public safety and ensuring that their resources are efficiently directed to areas that are needed the most. But they don't really state, at least not on this post, what the problem is. Is it a money problem? Could they present this at a city council meeting and do some public hearings and have citizens chime in as to whether they'd want a $1 per month tax increase on their property taxes to expand the shelter so they don't have to go running around trying to find a place to put that stray animal they found wandering the streets? I don't glean that from the post. Like, what is the problem there? Did you just run out of money to do this? Are you overrun by too many?
Do you have space?
And they did say they often run out of space. They don't have enough space at the shelter. They said that later on in the post. So it was, to me, it was almost as though like there might be a money issue there, but they're still going to close their doors. And now the public is absolutely appears to be outraged. We're talking about the city of Tooele changing up its policy at the city animal shelter. One commenter says it's taxpayer funded. So now you're going to push this onto nonprofits that struggle to get donations anyway? Do you agree with the policy? Do you agree with Dave?
Not their job, right? I mean, I think far too often we have abused the animal shelters. We have dropped off unwanted animals instead of trying to sell them or maybe trying to find another home for them with family, friends, incentivizing, saying, hey, listen, I will pay you a certain amount of money to take care of this animal. But what do? We just drop it off at the shelter. I think we've unfairly used the shelter, and we're using them for for something other than they were intended.
Do you agree with Dave? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK, or do you feel like this is insanity?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Treat yourself to the depth and analysis on Inside Sources.
Floyd Matheson goes beyond the headlines of the biggest stories.
Listen to Inside Sources from 1 to 3
on KSL News Radio.
A few things you should know about the KSL News Radio app. First, you get access to KSL's live stream any place you take your phone. Not to mention all of KSL's talk shows that you can podcast during the day. Third thing, you get breaking alerts for important stories.
We have you covered
with one app
at KSL News Radio.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Okay, I want you to go along with me here. I want you to imagine a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse steak sitting on a plate in front of you, that 500-degree plate. It is sizzling hot. It is cooked to perfection. I always go for medium, and it comes out just right. And then I want you to imagine that first bite that awaits you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. There is nothing like it. That first bite is so incredible. And then all the side dishes and the desserts. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is the place this holiday season for you to take the family, take friends, take your company party. Make your reservations now because you're going to love the experience. And even though they're a steakhouse, they have other great entrees as well. 2 locations, Hotel Park City and right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. With all the great things going on, the place to dine is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Mr. Mac's Buy One, Get One sale. Buy one suit for $299. Get the second for $100. Any style, any occasion. Free alterations in 9 locations. Mr. Mac.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Dodge, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Your nearby Elite Day and Night Home Comfort experts wish you the happiest holiday and a $1,200 instant discount on a new day and night home comfort system.
The holidays, a time for family and friends, and you'll be warm all winter long with a new day and night home comfort system. Through December 15th, get an up to $1,200 instant discount with Day and Night's no-hassle warranty on qualifying systems. Go to dayandnightcomfort.com for a Day and Night Elite dealer near you. The difference is day and night.
the three things you need to know this hour. I'm Amanda Dixon. First, Hunter Biden made a surprise appearance outside of Capitol Hill, condemning House Republicans for their impeachment inquiry intentions into his father, Joe Biden. Second, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear an abortion case dealing with the availability of an abortion drug. And third, volunteers for the potential 2034 Salt Lake City Olympics are already trying to sign up. Right now, our current temperature in downtown Salt Lake City is 34 degrees. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
There's a new policy at the Tooele Animal Shelter in the city of Tooele. It's been a sudden shift in its mission at this taxpayer-funded facility, and the comments on the city's Facebook post about this new policy, Dave, are on fire. I'm going to read through some of those in just a moment. People are not happy about it. We're also taking live calls, 801-575-TALK. If you miss what this new policy is all about, don't worry. I got your back in just a second.
I think for far too long, we have abused the way we use the community shelters. I think the purpose of the shelters are for animals that have been lost. You know, if they are found, you can bring them in, they can microchip them, or they can find out where the owner is if there's a lost animal. But I think far too often what happens is people get tired of owning a pet, and instead of trying to sell them or find a good home for them, they take them to the shelter, they drop them off, and they're like, oh, my job here is done. I can stop. I can relinquish this responsibility.
Okay, our Tooele friends, 801-575-TALK. Do you agree with Dave on this? The city has said that quite frequently they can't take in pets to rescue them and then adopt them out. And in fact, posted on Facebook that they feel like this is better left to rescue organizations. But in a nutshell, if you missed it, the city calls this a new chapter. While its former mission was all about rescues and adoptions, they're evolving to better serve the public. So if you don't carry a badge, if you aren't a cop, if you aren't an animal control officer, you can't bring a pet that you rescue that wound up, that basket of kitties that wound up somehow at your front door or in your work parking lot, because you know that happens. That actually happened here at KSL many, many years ago. I ended up with a cat that way.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Abandoned.
What?
It happens all the time.
They abandoned a cat at KSL?
Well, they abandoned them. Our producer found them on the way in, and this was in early 2000s.
And you took a cat home?
Did. Of course I did.
You softy.
I did. But, you won't be able to take that to the taxpayer-funded animal shelter anymore in Tooele. The way I read their new policy, they dropped it on Facebook yesterday. The comments were not, they were quite angry, actually. They weren't happy with this. This is insanity, one commenter wrote. Nowhere for them to go. Now they'll be dumped on the streets. 801-575-TALK. Do you agree with Dave, who says it's for far too long, we've just allowed these taxpayer-funded shelters to accept animal after animal after animal, no matter what the situation?
Judy in Tremonton, what do you think?
I think that you guys are correct. And the problem is, and the bottom line is, in most cases, it's irresponsible pet owners. Over the last 25 years, I have had over 20 cats jumped off at my private home here. I live on just around outskirts of Tremonton, and they drop them off after dark under the bushes, but they don't leave food, they just leave the animal. And it goes back to the pet owners. They need to, if they're going to have a pet, then take care of it. Get it spayed and neutered, and that's a problem too, because your facilities are just pricing the pet owners to death for getting their pets spayed and neutered.
Judy, you make an excellent point with this, is that often these types of facilities would make sure the animal had the proper care, was up to date on any sort of rabies vaccines. Dave, you brought up the point that these city shelters have a way to figure out if the animal's been microchipped to potentially get the pet back to its rightful owner. And you know, if you're telling residents of Tooele now, you find a cat on the streets like what's happening in Judy, or it gets dumped off in the bushes by your house, you're going to have to take it and find a rescue shelter, a nonprofit rescue shelter. Well, is that rescue shelter equipped to check to make sure the microchip is in, to see if they can find the original owner or the rightful owner? Are they equipped to figure out if the animal has been properly vaccinated? Will they spay and neuter the animal? Is that all on the rescue shelters now?
Well, there's a couple things that go through my mind on this. Number one, if someone just drops off an animal at your house, that doesn't make you automatically responsible for that animal.
But sure feels like it if you don't have anywhere to take it.
100%, you can feel that way. Legally, of course, you're not responsible. Just because someone drops off a box of kittens on your doorstep does not mean you are responsible for them. You can call animal services, and they will come in and take them for you. Because, again, of course, nobody is going to be held responsible for that. Number two, if you abandon an animal, that is illegal. Like that, there's no question. There are laws in place that if you are abusing an animal, if you abandon an animal, that you can be prosecuted. We've just got to find a better way to catch these folks that are mistreating and abandoning animals.
But if this is a money issue for the Tooele City Animal Shelter, Dave.
Yes, I believe
and
that.
They can't. They post on their Facebook page. They're at capacity. They have said we are at capacity. Oftentimes we can't even take animals unless they are from the police department or from animal control officers going out and collecting these animals that are strays and running around and running at large. Then why not just ask residents? And maybe they have. We've asked the city to call in and explain this, and would love an explanation for this. Just ask residents, like, look, how about $5 more a year on your property taxes, so we have a facility to house unwanted animals, to make sure that they get the proper care that they need, to make sure that they are microchipped, to make sure that they are spayed or neutered, and then we won't continue to proliferate this problem. Instead of putting it on rescues that are largely run by donations anyway, they're going to have to go out and collect donations from the public to run these things. It just seems to me like this would be a conversation that needs to be had in some sort of a city council meeting with residents. And maybe that's been done. I mean, that may have been done, and they were like, no, we're not going to, we don't want to pay one dime more to save the animals. I think that's a realistic solution to this problem. And we know that during the pandemic, a lot of people abandoned their pets. They just couldn't afford to anymore, keep them. They can't afford with inflation to pay for the rising costs of everything and then feed their animals and their pets too. So this sounds like this has a potential solution to it in my book.
Well, I've seen some numbers. The Humane Society said that they, in just 1 year, receive about 7,000 animals that are brought into their facility. I saw a Salt Lake Tribune reporter that had it closer to 12,000. There are thousands and thousands of animals that are being taken to these shelters. What is the role of the shelter? Do we want them to be an adoption agency? Should that be a private thing that is covered? And you're absolutely right in the sense that if they've run out of money, we're not funding it well enough. Well, we fund what we value. And if we're not valuing the animal shelter, we can't complain when they are at capacity.
Straight ahead, Representative Blake Moore is going to be live on the line calling the show in the wake of what we expect to be today, an impeachment inquiry vote into President Joe Biden. I'm hopeful that he can sort through the confusion and explain to us what this means.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is our top national story. About an hour ago, Hunter Biden outside the Capitol building talking about the GOP investigating his business dealings ahead of a deposition by GOP lawmakers. Biden defied the congressional subpoena. He never went inside to take part in the deposition. Republican lawmakers spoke with reporters about the skipped deposition. Here is Congressman Jordan.
We're disappointed that he didn't show up. I mean, he was just across the way at the Capitol. You think he could have come here and set the questions. You do it in an open format now, you're going to get filibusters, you're going to get speeches, you're going to get all kinds of things. What we want is the facts. And the way you get the facts in every single investigation I've been involved in is you bring people in for an interview behind closed doors where you can get those facts.
Biden says the investigation is nothing more than Republicans invading his privacy, attacking his family, and ridiculing his struggles with addiction. With more than 10 years before Utah could host another Winter Olympics, the call is already going out for volunteers. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details.
International Olympic Committee bid leader Fraser Bullock says the public is already calling about volunteering. The Deseret News reports the bid committee's website is being updated so potential volunteers could sign up soon. The site will also allow people to work for free on other projects in preparation for the games.
The legislature has earmarked more than $94 million to renovate venues used in 2002. Your money at this moment. Right now, the Dow's up 21 points. We're at 36,599. Coming up, it's a beautiful sunny day. We'll check KSL weather next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
It's the question that's been on everybody's mind, and it's about to be answered. When will Gillette Heating and Air offer plumbing services?
You want to know?
Yeah! The answer is now. To celebrate, Gillette is offering a free tankless water heater when you buy a high-efficiency heating and cooling system. For a limited time while supplies last, call Gillette today for heating, AC, and now plumbing. Call 385-GET-HEAT.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Andy Farnsworth for SOTA Weight Loss. That's SOTA. It stands for State of the Art. When I decided to begin my SOTA weight loss journey, and today I actually reached an exciting milestone, exactly 40 pounds lost in just about 10 weeks on SOTA Weight Loss. It's an amazing system where they change my habits. And I work with a nutritionist named Kristen, and she's so great. She encouraged me through Thanksgiving. She sent me a couple of recipes of things that I can eat that are SOTA approved as I made the difficult decision to go on this journey during the holiday season when there's a lot of things that would get in the way of me reaching that goal. My goal is to hit 65 pounds lost, and I'm now just about 2/3 of the way there. I feel great. I actually get nice compliments. And all of those things are because of the help that I've got from my friends at SOTA. Go to their website, sotaweightloss.com, and check out 8,200 plus people who, like me, are making this same journey and having the same success.
Protect your heart and your family. The American Heart Association and Live Fierce Take Action sponsor Optum urge you to get your flu shot today. Learn more at heart.org/flu.
Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Jason Jones.
It never ceases to amaze me that when 9 o'clock hits, basically the traffic goes away. And that's what happened this time. Northbound I-15 coming out of Utah County through the Salt Lake Valley. No trouble at all into downtown Salt Lake City. Likewise, southbound in Davis County. Yeah, maybe just a little less than 70 miles an hour around 2nd North in Kaysville. That's it up there as well. If you're headed up into the canyons, we're not seeing any trouble in any of your canyons. In from Tooele, after that accident's gone, it's all looking really good as well. Maybe just a little congested northbound Foothill Drive. That's about the only thing we've got going on. Start your dream kitchen or bath today at Bedrock Quartz, where it's only 7 days from template to installation. Visit New Murray or Spanish Fork showrooms or bedrockquartz.com. bedrockquartz.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, it's going to be a sunny day today with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 30. Conditions are expected to be pretty consistent this week. In fact, the temperature will go up slowly, get up to 47 by Monday of next week. Right now, let's see what our current temperature is downtown. 34 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Dave, I heard that Representative Blake Moore is waiting on the line. So let's set the scene and then bring Representative Moore on the line live with us so he can tell us, he can help us better understand what's going on back in Washington, D.C. So House Republicans did really, they wanted to interview Hunter Biden, President's son, this morning about his business dealings and whether President Biden benefited in any way. Well, Hunter ignored a congressional subpoena and refused to be deposed this morning. Instead, he held an impromptu press conference outside the Capitol to defend his father.
And in the depths of my addiction, I was extremely irresponsible with my finances. But to suggest that is grounds for an impeachment inquiry is beyond the absurd. It's shameless. There's no evidence to support the allegations that my father was financially involved in my business because it did not happen.
So the president's son, Hunter, he wants to answer questions in a public hearing, not in a private deposition.
So this is something that Representative Jim Jordan, said was just not going to happen.
What we want is the facts. And the way you get the facts in every single investigation I've been involved in is you bring people in for an interview behind closed doors where you can get those facts. And then, as the chairman said, we'd love for him to come public.
Kind of gutsy to tell Congress what they should do and how they should do it. Representative Blake Moore joins us right now. What do you think of Hunter Biden refusing to be questioned this morning?
It's not surprising because, over the last 3 to 4 years, from the American people's perspective, there was basically a suppression of this information during the campaign. And that's not me saying that. That is like Facebook's founder saying it. We were asked to squash some of this. This was trying to be considered conspiracy. And now you have Hunter Biden say, yeah, it was all true. It's all wrong. And I made a lot of mistakes, but at least my dad wasn't involved. And my dad and President Biden, when he was running, said I had no involvement in the business dealings. And now we've got alias emails. We have WhatsApp messages that were clearly President Biden was involved. And Hunter Biden is not going to make $20 million from random and oftentimes hostile nations and entities from those countries in a consulting role without influence from his father. So it doesn't pass the gut check for Americans. And so I'm not surprised that Hunter didn't want to show up and actually just do a deposition. Credit to the Judiciary Committee and Chairman Jordan, Chairman Smith, that I'm on Ways and Means, and Chairman Comer. We're trying to go through the right process. You did not see the correct process, the committee process, all of that play out in previous impeachment inquiries, and they didn't even vote for an impeachment inquiry necessarily. We're trying to go through the right process and uncover the facts. And it's not always easy to do that. It's less political. It will get political, but yeah, I'm not surprised to see Hunter say that kind of stuff. I actually didn't see the press conference. I've had plenty of other meetings today, but so thanks for sharing that, because that's the first I've heard of it. But you need to come in for a deposition. That's the proper way to do it.
Representative Moore, I've done a lot of reading and research on this. As a journalist, I absorb a lot of information, and I still get my head still spins when we start talking about all the who's who's and all the Bidens and all the email. Can you just boil down from your perspective, because you've been looking at this from an insider's perspective in Congress, what do you think happened there?
So here. Let me lay out a very simple scenario. The IRS whistleblowers, we have jurisdiction on Ways and Means over the IRS. It's a very, very sensitive matter. We don't even televise our hearings. We're not allowed to. These are under executive session. They're very confidential. We want to protect whistleblowers. Whistleblowers came forward, 2 of them, and said 2 very simple things. That what they've seen in the DOJ's investigation involving the IRS with Hunter Biden, that he was given, that they had slow walked it. There's a statute of limitations that existed from 14 and 15, and they have slow walked this investigation, and there's been preferential treatment given. And these whistleblowers, one of them is a Democrat. One of them has not been very political, right? And they've come forward and said, we just feel like we're doing the right thing. And it was brave. And they shared their testimony. We had to withhold that testimony from being released until we had a chance to meet on Thursday to vote on whether or not we could release that testimony. That was back in June. That was set to be on Thursday. On Tuesday morning, there was an announcement that Hunter Biden had entered into a plea deal with the Department of Justice. It felt like a sweetheart deal from all of the tax evasion and everything that he had done. And that was Tuesday. We as a committee didn't even know that was going to happen, but it was forced upon, and I believe the DOJ acted quickly so they could get this done before we released the whistleblower testimony. And then after the whistleblower testimony was released, that plea deal has fallen apart and more indictments have come. And so we're trying to go through the proper process to uncover, where so the simple thing is from when Vice President Biden was preparing to leave office, his family started to engage, primarily Hunter and his business associates had started to engage in consulting positions on boards from Burisma in Ukraine, energy companies from China, Romania, some allied countries too. He was starting to collect millions and millions and millions of dollars from these organizations. Hunter Biden's not talented enough and qualified to be in that role. What involvement did President Biden have in influencing that? Then all of the tax evasion, and then the collecting the money. To what extent did President Biden collect money there? There's transfers from family members that had received money from, a granddaughter was in college and received money from one of these shell companies set up. So the government, the Chinese company would send money to a shell company. The shell company would then send money to a random granddaughter of the Biden family. And so they're all involved. We just understand exactly. Right now, we're doing an impeachment inquiry vote. All that does is it gives us more subpoena power to uncover more information from the White House. They're saying they won't provide more information unless there's a vote. And so we're going to go through a vote. And that's as simple as that is, just to get more information, to get the facts laid out.
Donald Trump was impeached twice. This could lead possibly to President Biden's impeachment. Are you at all concerned that the impeachment process is being abused?
So go read Speaker John Boehner's book. He talks about this. Nixon was the last time that you had a sincere evaluation and you used impeachment to force a resignation. And it's happened on both sides for a while now. And what you'll hear from Democrats on this particular situation is, there's no proof that Joe Biden took a bribe. Well, we have a lot of evidence from alias emails. I don't know why a former president needs that many alias emails out there. It just reeks of impropriety at best, illegality. What Hunter Biden has done is illegal. No one's even disputing that anymore. Where 3 years ago, everybody was like, "Oh, this is all a hoax." Well, it's actually not. And so we're using this, if nothing else, to lay out the facts of this case. It probably becomes partisan, right? And the Democrats can say, what Hunter's done is wrong and he shouldn't have done this type of work, but you can't really prove that there was bribery. Where's the crime? Like, that will be the discussion going on in impeachment, and you can make the judgment call one way or the other. You can make a judgment call on President Trump with the phone call saying, hey, I want you to investigate this Hunter Biden stuff to Ukraine, and that was his political rival at the time. So, like, is that an abuse of power? Not. Well, most people, if you're Republican, they all kinds of, no, it's not an abuse of power to the extent necessary for impeachment. You can always make that a judgment call. We have if we do nothing else than just lay out that this information was suppressed and there's real impropriety and on the behalf of Hunter Biden, and that it's been illegal and he needs to be prosecuted, and we can show that the Department of Justice went easy on him, like, the American people need to know that. If it takes an impeachment trial, if it takes an impeachment inquiry vote, like, I'm okay with that. But yes, these become very partisan.
Representative Blake Moore, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that that issue, because if you follow it as much as we both do, and I still feel puzzled by all of the pieces, appreciate you joining the show and walking us through. Today's vote expected to happen about 5 o'clock this afternoon back in D.C. time, so that means about 3 o'clock. And that, of course, means that Jeff Kaplan, you want to be with his afternoon news and all the reporters and producers there to watch and see what happens. Next, Tesla drivers. You may or may not know this, but we just got an alert this morning that nearly all the vehicles sold in the United States are being recalled. So we're going to learn more from ABC News next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
2 new reasons to drop in on KSL on Friday mornings.
Starting in January, you'll hear Dave and Debbie Fridays at 9.
And hear the movie show at lunch from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and of course, by now, everyone knows that NPS is a nice place to save each and every day, 30 to 70% off the finest brand new merchandise. But then again, you never quite know what you're going to find at NPS. That's just part of the fun, part of the adventure. Now remember, the prices, special deals I'm going to tell you about, this is on top of the already tremendous savings of 30 to 70% off. How about 30% off big screen TVs right now? 50% off bedding and linens. How about 20% off high-end jewelry in collectibles? 30% off shoes. I love this. Designer sunglasses, 50% off. And don't forget, that's on top of the already discounted prices, 30 to 70%. It's happening right now. NPS, nice place to shop, located in Layton, in Orem, and 2 stores in Salt Lake City.
This just in, Hot Tub Factory Outlet and Backyards of America have extended our biggest Black Friday sale ever. If you're looking for a hot tub or a swim spa, now's the time to buy. You can still take advantage of this incredible offer. Most retail establishments offer one item at a very low price just to get you in the door, and then everything else is at a higher price. But not us. Every single hot tub and swim spa on our showroom floor is marked at an incredible 30% off MSRP. Yep, you heard right. 30% off MSRP on every single hot tub and swim spa. Both locations have 15 to 20 hot tubs and swim spas to choose from. We'll remove your old hot tub for free, and we even offer financing through Mountain America. Come visit Hot Tub Factory Outlet next to Cowabunga Bay and Backyards of America in Sandy off of 90th South to take advantage of this incredible 30% off MSRP.
Peterson Art Center. Give the gift of creativity with a gift certificate good for any art or pottery class. It's the perfect gift for spouses, kids, friends, and seniors. The Peterson Art Center in Sugar House.
Pro Paint Days are back for MVP's Pro Rewards members at Lowe's. Now through December 15th, you can earn 10% back in paint rewards via Lowe's e-gift card when you spend $100 or more on qualifying paint purchases. Plus, save $10 on a new and exclusive 5-gallon pail of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Drywall PVA Primer and Sealer. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid 12/4 through 12/15. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/L/pro loyalty terms. Subject to change.
For the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, the Supreme Court has agreed to take up a case to discuss the availability of a widely used abortion drug. Second, House Republicans are reacting to Hunter Biden's comments outside the Capitol this morning and to his skipping of a closed-door deposition. Third, someone took some notes from the Grinch and stole every piece of Christmas decor from a Rose Park home. Right now, it's 34 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
Got an alert this morning, so if you're driving a Tesla or you've got a buddy that drives a Tesla, let them know they're recalling nearly all the cars they sold in the United States, more than 2 million of them because of a software and an autopilot issue.
It really seems to me, Debbie, that it revolves around the autopilot issue. So recalls happen all the time. I mean, I've had 9 of them on my minivan. So recalls are not they sound scarier than they are sometimes. Sometimes they're every bit as scary as the recall sounds. They're genuinely dangerous. So I want to know, how dangerous is this? How big of a deal is it? Mike Dubusky from ABC News joins us right now. He's the technology reporter. Mike, thanks for joining us. Loop us in on what you know so far.
Yeah, that's right. So this is an enormous recall for Tesla. As you mentioned, it's nearly every vehicle they make. So the Model S sedan and X crossover, they're sort of full-size vehicles, and the Model 3 and Model Y, sort of smaller compact crossovers. Everything is affected by this recall. And you're right, it goes back to this autopilot driver assist technology. Think of this as like very advanced cruise control. This is a steering system that will keep you centered in your lane called auto steer. The car will speed up and slow down with traffic. It's meant, in Tesla's words, to be mainly used on highways, and crucially, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel at all times when this system is employed. Essentially, it's meant to allow you to focus on things further down the road. But what the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has found after a years-long investigation is that the safety systems that are designed to ensure someone is paying attention to the road and not nodding off or reading a book or watching Netflix, for example, are not sufficient enough to ensure the safety of drivers. And that's why this recall is being issued. Again, it affects more than 2 million Teslas. They're bread and butter products. And this is a really significant moment. It's the second recall associated with autopilot from Tesla this year. And essentially, it means if you own a Tesla that is not a Cybertruck, which just came out recently, then your car is currently under recall. But it's worth mentioning here, guys, this is not the type of recall where you're going to need to bring your car into a dealership to get it fixed or into a mechanic. This is one of those recalls that Tesla does over the air. Teslas are electric vehicles. They also rely pretty heavily on software, and that means that Tesla can ship a software update to your car as it's just sitting in the driveway, and you turn it on the next morning, you click OK, you maybe scroll through some menus, and then the car is updated. That's how they say they're going to fix this issue, by adding some more safeguards to make sure that people are keeping their hands on the wheel and paying attention to the road when autopilot is active.
Okay. So if you're scrolling through a menu, what is it going to do? Serve up a cup of coffee to keep you alert and paying attention? Because, I mean, what could they possibly do to the software other than I can think of maybe sound an alarm or something to make sure you're wide awake and attentive, Mike?
Sure. So there's a couple of levels to this, right, Debbie? So, yes, you're right. They can absolutely sound an alarm. That already is a feature within autopilot if you don't have your hands on the wheel for a certain amount of time or it senses that you're not paying attention. But you can also slow down the car and kind of maneuver it over to the shoulder if you become unresponsive. Let's say there's a medical episode that happens to a Tesla driver as autopilot engaged. If the car senses that this person is not active and attentive, then it can actually slow down and put the hazard lights on. What's more, there is a small motor in the steering wheel of all Teslas. I should also mention that autopilot is standard on all new Teslas, so this is a very common technology. The motor senses if your hands are there, and it can give you a little jolt or make sure that you are holding the wheel at 10 and 2 to make sure that you're there. But what has been discovered in recent years is that motor is very easy to fool. Some people have found that you can tape a banana or a piece of fruit to your Tesla steering wheel, and it will sense that as a human holding the wheel. And, of course, a couple of influencers got their hands on it a few years ago and fell asleep in the back seat or, did all manner of other things while the car was fooled into thinking that somebody had their hands on the wheel when, in fact, they did not. So that seems to be where NHTSA is targeting its focus here, is that the system does have measures that it can employ to make sure that you're paying attention, but those measures maybe don't go far enough, and that's kind of what Tesla is focusing on in this software update.
Dave and I are just absolutely trying not to laugh out loud over the banana not in the tailpipe, but it's on the steering wheel. I mean, who does this stuff? For goodness
I didn't
sake.
see that turn in the story, Mike. I did not see the banana taped to the steering wheel story.
Also gross. Those things go bad so fast.
Deep into the stories, I like to bring you the part of the story that you might not hear. Bananas. And in fact, to add another layer to this, there was a whole sort of cottage industry of systems like sort of little, grips or what have you being sold online that you could kind of attach to your Tesla steering wheel to essentially fool it. And those were eventually taken down. But that was a thing when this autopilot system first came to be and when we first realized that it was a pretty easy system to fool.
Well, I think that the most amazing part of the story, even though you always tell us, you tell such a great story, Mike, anytime you join the show. Dave and I always say, we love having Mike Dubusky on because you do such a great job. But what's most amazing to me is that you don't have to try to make an appointment with the dealer to take, your car in. You're just doing it in your own driveway. That's a new way of recalls.
That's becoming much more common as cars transition over into electric power and rely more heavily on software as opposed to hardware. They have become, in essence, tech companies, right? Tech companies, your phone can update itself overnight if you set it to do that. Similarly, a lot of cars can do that as well to make sure that you have the latest software because as we see, more and more people are relying on systems like this. One more point that I would like to make, though, guys, I think, is that Tesla's autopilot system is not the only system out there like this, these driver assist technologies. Other systems, namely ones made by General Motors called Super Cruise, actually have small cameras embedded into the steering column that can monitor your eyes to make sure that you're staring at the road in front of you. Tesla doesn't have that, and many have complained and criticized Tesla for not employing that technology because GM's Super Cruise system has been found to be broadly very safe. They've mapped these roads. They make sure that the cars know where they are using GPS, and combined with this camera system, they have been found to be relatively safe. Tesla seems to be a little bit further behind in that regard. They do treat their cars like pieces of software as opposed to pieces of hardware, which means that they don't abide by typical model years. Your 2015 Tesla can operate similarly to a 2023 Tesla. But, of course, that comes with drawbacks.
Mike Dubusky, thank you. Great update on the Tesla recalls that may just happen in your garage. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate it.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, a new building still under construction in Ogden, now set to be demolished. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly explains.
The 5-story building was deemed structurally deficient by inspectors in October. That's 6 months after a work stop order was issued because the lumber being used was found to be not fire resistant. Ogden Mayor Mike Caldwell tells KSL.com the partially built structure in the middle of historic 25th Street is now set for demolition.
Caldwell says a permit to take the building down, though, has not yet been requested. A paraglider was rescued after he crashed and slid down Mahogany Mountain. Sergeant Dallin Turner with Utah County Sheriff says the glider was hit pretty hard.
The winds up there were swirling. He came over a ridge and his wing just collapsed, causing him to basically drop to the mountainside. He kind of slid down probably about 100 feet from where it looks like he originally landed.
The man was rescued thanks to airlift, and he's expected to recover. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hunter Biden addressed reporters outside the Capitol this morning, reiterating that he is prepared to answer questions from the House Oversight Committee, but only in a public hearing. ABC's Rachel Bade says he could face a possible contempt citation.
We expect Republicans to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. They could even do it before they leave for the holiday recess. I know there has been some discussion about the timing of that and how soon they want to do it. And that's going to kick this to the courts, where Republicans are going to ask a federal judge to enforce the subpoena and to make Hunter Biden come in and answer the questions that they want answered.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up, but just barely on the day, about 8 points. The NASDAQ is up around 9. And our KSL weather looks like things are going to dry out, and maybe an inversion layer will build up. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go!
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Jeff Kaplan here for my good friends at Advanced Window Products. Jake Weber and Nate Orchard are spreading the holiday cheer with their biggest sale of the year. If the wind whistles through your windows, if you want a fresh new look for your number one investment, your home, call Advanced Window Products and take advantage of this incredible end-of-year sale. Replace all of your windows and frames, and you get $2,500 off. But that's not all. You get a free premium glass upgrade. Insulate your home against the cold with double pane windows and stylish frames, any style, any color, and they're built custom right here at their headquarters in Salt Lake City for 37 years. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. Plus, an additional $2,500 off and a free premium glass upgrade. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage. Call now, Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Every 2 seconds, someone in Utah needs blood. Help save a life with ARUP, the sole provider to university and Huntsman Cancer Hospitals. 2 locations and donor perks. Visit utahblood.org.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Jason Jones.
And no accidents to speak of along the Wasatch Front. If you're north or southbound on I-15, you're free flowing right now from Ogden all the way down to the Payson area. Looking good on the belt route. Your major feeders over to I-15 also moving along smoothly. We don't have any problems in the canyons in and out of Tooele. It's just a fantastic commute, at least at this point. Ready for a hot tub or swim spa? Buy from 2 local guys that will treat you right and save you thousands of dollars. Visit Hot Tub Factory Outlets and Backyards of America in Draper and Sandy. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Canyon winds will die down through the day. Then high pressure moves in with pollution building up under an inversion layer. There is a chance of showers by Monday and Tuesday next week. And right now, 39 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bonas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Okay, let's take you to Midvale for our top story in the 10 o'clock hour. There's been videos that have landed on social media that they paint a picture of a neighbor in Midvale that seems to be harassing a family, including their child. And the mom of that family, it says they've been being harassed for quite some time, says their neighbor does things like this. That she screams racial profanities, that she, camps outside their home at night, spits on their cars. Here's just a clip. We're going to play about 7 seconds of the video that was captured and that's gone viral on social media. Now, we do know that the woman who's been at the heart of this controversy, that's been accused of lobbying these racial profanities at this family, had been facing criminal charges. And in one case, she was also accused, Dave, of punching this mom in the stomach, and this mom is pregnant. We're not exactly clear on if all of these charges that she, was facing have to do with this one family. But there's been some new developments this morning because this has been going on for quite some time, I think a couple of months.
Yeah, we just saw this on Facebook. Was it Facebook or Instagram? One of the social media sites. The mayor of Midvale posted an update that said that this individual, are we giving out the name?
Well, I don't.
Okay, so this individual that has been accused of harassing her neighbors was taken into custody last night on her outstanding warrants. I'm hopeful that this is a positive step for the healing of this targeted family, the affected neighborhood, and our entire community.
We also looked her up on the jail record, on the jail database, Salt County Jail, and it looks as though she's still in jail. Tyler Ayers is the attorney for the family that says they've been being harassed. Tyler, good morning. Walk us through from the family's point of view what their experience has been like and how long it's been going on.
So, well, good morning. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you putting some light on this. This family moved in about 2018. The day they moved in, this behavior started, both from the woman and from other people in the same subdivision. Her treatment, her behavior has certainly been the most egregious, but I wouldn't want to leave the impression that she's the only person doing any of this in this neighborhood.
Okay, so you're making allegations that there are other families, other people that are engaging in this harassment?
Yes, specifically the homeowners association.
So walk us back. What is the reason? What does the family think the reason for this type of harassment has been?
Well, there's not a lot of mystery to the reason. They're being harassed because of their race and their ethnicity. The funny thing about it is in one of the videos, you hear two neighborhood boys taunt the woman, who then stops in front of my client's house and spews out the N-word. And then the two boys says, she doesn't even know we're white. We're white. So, it's not just her, but it's primarily her. And what we're hoping for is that it would stop. And we're hoping that we would get some support like they're finally getting. But the police have been out there more than 10 times without writing a citation.
What would the
But she was. My understanding is she was criminally charged, and so police would have had to have written some sort of a citation in order for them to turn it over to prosecutors, right?
But as you pointed out, we don't know if it was for behavior to my clients or behavior for someone else. Someone like this is probably going to behave in the same way towards other people who may call the police as well.
So you don't know if her arrest, Tyler, you don't know if her arrest last night has to do with the allegations that have been brought forth by your clients.
Well, I do know that last night my clients met with the unified police officer who is in charge of the mental health program, and she told my clients that the woman was not violating any laws by expressing her opinion. And that's not true. There are several laws that are violated with this opinion.
She's shouting from her home, right? And it's deplorable and despicable what we've heard. What are the laws that she's breaking?
So first of all, whenever she talks about striking someone, that's an insult. That's an assault. Whenever she uses the N-word, which she does regularly, that's considered incitement. We can criminalize incitement. Now, Midvale City has not done that yet, but it is something I hope to ask them to do. In addition, so you've got the assault, which is absolute, pretty much happens every time she talks to them.
It's verbal assault, right? Sometimes we get a little bit confused about a physical assault and a verbal assault.
Well, probably that's because there's no difference. An assault is an assault, and if you read the code says that an assault it can be an unwanted touching, that can also be a battery, or it can simply be a threat. And in this case, fortunately, there's never been any actual physical violence that rendered anybody harmed, but there has been this threat of violence. And the threat of violence is just as much an assault as actually touching somebody. Now, the good thing about a threat versus an actual is you're probably not going to get an aggravated assault by threatening because there's no aggravating factors there. But every time this woman talks to my clients, she is guilty of an assault based on what I've heard because she never speaks to them without threatening them.
Tyler,
and then likewise. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to reintroduce you to our listeners who are just tuning in. Tyler Ayers is an attorney representing a family in Midvale who says that they and their child has been harassed. Their neighbor screams racial profanities, spits on their cars. That's just a short clip of some of the videos that have been posted online. Now, we do know that the woman who's been at the heart of this, the center of this, was taken into custody, and she is in jail in Salt Lake County right now, according to the jail records. So we just looked up, Tyler. You said that your client met last night with somebody, with a police officer from the mental health unit with the Unified Police Department. Do you believe that perhaps there is a mental health component with this woman who's 67 years old, that maybe there's a different course of action besides criminalizing her behavior?
Ultimately, her behavior is criminal. Now, there may be a mental health defense, but in this situation, I'd be a little bit surprised if there wasn't a mental health issue here. But the question for a mental health issue when it comes to the law is, does she know right from wrong? And based on the videos I've observed, she knows she's being mean. She knows she's hurting people's feelings, and she's doing it intentionally. So, yeah, she may be a narcissist, or have some other mental component, that's not firing right for her. But she's still responsible for this, regardless. But no, from our side, nobody's asking for her to be drawn and quartered. We don't even care about a maximum punishment. Number one, we want it to stop. And not just in her neighborhood, but in all the neighborhoods where things like this are happening. We want it to stop. We want our families to be compensated. Why should they have to go through 4 years of hell just because this lady has a mental breakdown that nobody will help them with? It's not like they just recently started calling the police. They've called them through the last 4 years. And so the police and the Midvale City, they have a duty to make this right, because they're the ones who had a constitutional and a statutory obligation to protect these people, my clients.
I have also seen, though, Tyler, in these same videos that we've been using, I've seen interactions between your client and the person you're accusing, and they've been pretty spicy on both sides. Profanities. One has had a racial component, no question. Is there anything?
And the other one hasn't. Only one has had a racial component.
Yes.
My clients, absolutely. Somebody threatens my kids, you'll probably hear some colorful language too.
No, I understand that. Is there anything else, though, that could be considered an incitement from your client? Was there any behavior that, for full disclosure, and to paint a more full picture, that could have happened?
No. I mean, my answer is no. I wouldn't expect my clients to do anything different. Now, I've heard the language that you're talking about, and I actually entertained the thought for a few minutes, and then I said to myself, shame on you, Tyler, for judging how they responded. Because until you're in that situation, until you're pregnant and you have one of your children, being intimidated and assaulted by this 60-something odd-year-old woman who claims to have been a prosecuting attorney. That's what she told my clients. Now, I haven't verified that by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, the
but
city's
she's saying
she's
trying to use that information.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I was going to say, Tyler, and we're going to have to go, Tyler. We appreciate we've run out of time, but we will continue to have these conversations with you, and always, welcome your client to join the show as well. At any time, you know how to get a hold of us, certainly, and we appreciate the last 10 minutes or so that you've been able to spend with us. But we have I don't know what she claimed out there to be, but we do have information here that suggests she has not been an attorney, and I believe also either the Unified Police Department or the City of Midvale confirmed that she had not been a prosecuting attorney. So there seems to be some conflicting information on that. But straight ahead, I want to ask our legal analyst, Greg Skordas, Dave, this question that Tyler brought up. It's like, what is the duty of law enforcement, of the city, if neighbors call and call and call and obviously have recordings of this going on? What is the duty in his view? He's a former prosecutor. He's a defense attorney. Let's ask Greg next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
Think about all the ways you use your phone. But are you getting KSL's breaking news updates?
We've got a storm to start the day.
Israel Defense Forces are adamant that they're just following protocol.
The White House is getting worried about Russia's growing relationship with Iran.
The vacancy left in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles has been filled.
Get alerts, links to important story articles, and updates on severe weather and traffic. Text the word news to 57500. That's the word news to 57500. And stay connected to KSL News Radio.
One of the things when my wife and I were discussing whether or not to invest in a water softener was, okay, is it worth it? How's it going to change our life? How's it going to affect our life? And there were so many things. We had Connecticut of Utah come out to our house, and they just started walking us through very patiently because we had basically zero knowledge of water softeners other than, yeah, I think my mom had one. We didn't know exactly how it worked, and they started walking us through the plumbing in our house and how it is, going to our washing machine and our dishwasher and how it affects the shower. And they showed us on our shower, like, you see all of this hard water build up and the scum. That is from the hard water. And when you make that and turn that water into soft water, then the cleaning process, you don't need a jackhammer to clean your shower any longer. It helps your skin be soft. It benefits your laundry and your dishes. I mean, how many times have we been trying to scrub off those hard water spots on our glasses after they come out of the dishwasher? Soft water has been fantastic for us in so many different ways. If you're interested in making that investment in your home, give Connecticut of Utah a call, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or you can check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray. Kidney cars, give your car away. Tax write-off, and you will save today.
The staff of the National Kidney Foundation of Utah would like to wish you a merry holiday season and remind you that it is better to give than receive, but not better than giving and receiving. For example, if you give your car to the Kidney Foundation, you may get a tax deduction. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS. To donate your used car to the Kidney Foundation, call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K. That's 1-800-TOWKARS.
Kidney cars, donate your car today. Tax write-off, hip, 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 hooray!
Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K.
Give the best gift a Jazz fan can get. Tickets to a Jazz game. Or treat yourself with our holiday ticket packs. Getting a pack not only gets you to a game. With every ticket purchase, you can get $15 in Jazz notes for in-arena concessions on merch at the team store. Plus, each ticket comes with a ticket to a Salt Lake City Stars game. Get your tickets now by calling or texting 801-355-DUNK. Or by visiting UtahJazz.com. Happy holidays from the Utah Jazz.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
A holiday message from Jackson Hewitt.
'Twas the yikes before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring.
except Larry. See, the stockings weren't hung by the chimney with care, because Larry's wallet was empty, with no time to spare. So he went to Jackson Hewitt for a holiday loan, got money so fast, he rejoiced and went home. Avoid the yikes before Christmas. Go to Jackson Hewitt before it's too late. Get up to $1,000 fast, minus the wait.
Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Talking about these videos on social media that paint a picture of a neighbor in Midvale harassing a family, including their child. Now, the mom of that family says they've, been harassed by the woman who drives by or camps on their lawn, screams racial profanities, spits on their cars, and some of this has been caught on tape.
Now, we've all experienced a bad neighbor before. No question, this kind of profanity, the racial slurs that are being thrown about, that definitely crosses a line, something I've never experienced. But we just heard from this family's lawyer who have discussed that this is not just a recent problem. This has been going on for years.
Number one, we want it to stop. And not just in her neighborhood, but in all the neighborhoods where things like this are happening. We want it to stop. We want our families to be compensated. Why should they have to go through 4 years of hell just because this lady has a mental breakdown that nobody will help them with? It's not like they just recently started calling the police. They've called them through the last 4 years. And so the police and the Midvale City, they have a duty to make this right because they're the ones who had a constitutional and a statutory obligation to protect these people, my clients.
That was Tyler Ayers, just called the show moments ago to talk about this situation in Midvale. He's been retained by the family. Says they've been harassed for quite some time with racial profanities flung at them. We've seen videos of it. It's Greg Skordas, our legal analyst here at KSL Broadcast House. Appreciate you joining us. I mean, you can talk about, bad neighbors. I think we've all been in situations where we just don't get along with our neighbors for whatever reason. But this is uncomfortable. These videos are uncomfortable to watch, to the point where you do have to wonder where were the police, and do police have an obligation to protect the family that's feeling harassed?
That's a really good question. I interviewed Tyler Ayers also this morning in anticipation of this call. I hadn't realized you were also going to communicate with him. And he indicated to me that the videos that you've seen and we've experienced so far are really just the tip of the iceberg, that it's much more than that. But to answer your question, he's certainly pursuing his civil remedies, including a civil rights claim. I don't know that I necessarily agree with him that the city of Midvale and the police have a obligation, or certainly a constitutional obligation, to protect the family. They certainly do in the case of assault, or if there is a civil rights problem. For example, if a business decides it's not going to let somebody in the business because of their color, obviously that would be a problem. In this case, it's obviously a deranged neighbor. Perhaps they could charge her with something like the disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, something sort of get her attention, maybe get the law behind them a little bit, put her on some sort of probationary term, maybe even give her see what she thinks about a day or two in jail, and maybe that will solve the problem. But sometimes, like you guys are talking about, neighbors are so bad, the situation is so bad that I don't know. There isn't always a solution to that.
He also brought up bringing the homeowners association into this as well. Do you see any way where they would be, I guess, to blame in part?
But not necessarily to blame, Dave, but certainly they may have some ability to do something. They may have an ability to exclude the homeowner and say, look, we're going to kick you out of the association. We're going to, in some way force her to either move out of the place or to change her conduct. or to assess some sort of fines. It would really depend on their bylaws and their what they've got with the homeowners association. But they may, I don't know that they would be culpable, responsible, but they certainly could take some action to prevent it from occurring in the future, and maybe sanction this particular member of the association in ways that are probably associated or spelled out in their policies and procedures.
Greg, appears the woman who's been at the center of this has been taken into custody. She just checked the inmate lookup tool at the Salt Lake County Jail, and she is in jail. The mayor of Midvale posted on social media that she was taken into custody last night. We have such little time, maybe 30 seconds here. What will happen to her from here? Because I think there are people who feel like there is a mental health component here, and that she may need help as well, besides just getting arrested.
Right, and certainly the authorities can look into whether or not she could be civilly committed. That's certainly a possibility. The city of Midvale has a very good prosecuting office. They may also decide whether or not and to what extent they can file criminal charges against her. But at the very least, I mean, it sounds like they're heading in a good direction here, Debbie. I know we're out of time, but having her taken into custody may very well get her attention and get the authorities involved in what's going on here.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. Thanks, Greg.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top national story this hour. ACT test scores have been dropping around the country, but it turns out Utah's numbers are higher than the national average.
Scores have been declining for the last 6 years, but the drop was accelerated by pandemic-era learning loss. The class of 2023 were freshmen when pandemic lockdowns began. It's consistent with the drops in elementary and middle school test scores.
KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports Utah's average ACT score for the class of 2023 was 19.9, just slightly over the nation's 19.5 average. Police have a man in custody who they say smashed front doors at the Provo Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Officers accuse 30-year-old Weston Huff of taking a hammer to the glass doors before driving away from the scene. Officers used security pictures of his car and part of his license plate to find and arrest him. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Nearly all Teslas are currently under recall over concerns about the company's autopilot driver assist technology. ABC's Mike Dubusky has details.
Tesla says it has a moral obligation to continue improving its safety systems. In a statement, the electric vehicle maker says there is incontrovertible data that shows autopilot is saving lives. 2 million Teslas are being recalled over worries the technology doesn't have enough safeguards to ensure drivers aren't misusing it. Tesla is offering a software update that it says will fix the issue.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average just slipping into negative territory by about 3 points right now. The NASDAQ's still up about 2 points. And our KSL weather, yeah, we could see another inversion building up. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
I can't tell you how many times I've had someone come out to my house to do a little work. They give me a bid, and then Debbie, my goodness, when I get the actual invoice, I'm like, why did we even bother with the bid process? We're not even in the ballpark.
This is why you've got to call Master Electrical. They've got upfront pricing. So they take the guess out of the bid process, Dave. The bid that they give you upfront is guaranteed. That is the price that you're going to pay when the job is done.
Yeah, they call it their upfront pricing guarantee, and Master Electrical can do anything that has to do with electrical.
Lights, ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, batteries, EV chargers installed, all with their upfront pricing guarantee.
Yeah, Master Electrical proudly serves from Logan to Santa Quinn.
And they're always open, including for emergency services. And we know at the holidays that emergencies are never convenient, so keep this number handy. 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
So if you can't get your blinking lights blinking, you could call the professionals if you don't want to mess around with everything. Yeah, check them out online as well. MasterElectrical.com.
Every year I tell myself, Doug, you can't procrastinate. It's time to get into Burt Brothers. Make sure that the vehicle I drive, the vehicles that Dee drives, and our family vehicles are all ready for winter. And Burt Brothers, boy, as these temperatures start to drop, soon the snowflakes are going to fall, the roads are going to be slick. You need peace of mind on Utah's snowy roads. Winter tires from Burt Brothers, they make all the difference. You can drive with confidence. Specialized tires designed to grip the road in the harshest conditions. They give you better traction, handling, shorter braking distances, and the gift of safety for you and your loved ones. And right now, save up to $130 back on 4 Bridgestone Blizzak tires through December 16th. That's only at Burt Brothers with complete auto care. They can take care of it all. Make sure you're not off on the side of the road with a little help from your friends at Burt Brothers. And there's a location for Burt Brothers near you.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Your nearby Elite Day and Night Home Comfort experts wish you the happiest holiday and a $1,200 instant discount on a new day and night home comfort system.
The holidays, a time for family and friends, and you'll be warm all winter long with a new day and night home comfort system. Through December 15th, get an up to $1,200 instant discount with Day and Night's no-hassle warranty on qualifying systems. Go to dayandnightcomfort.com for a Day and Night Elite dealer near you. The difference is day and night.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Jason Jones.
And we're running accident-free and drama-free up and down the Wasatch Front. I-15 is moving smoothly north and southbound. No problems right now on the Belt Route. If you are looking to come in and out of Tooele, you're not going to find any resistance there on either I-80 or the 201. Headed off up into Park City, no problem there. Up the canyon, Parley's Canyon, is moving smoothly all over the place. In fact, it's just really an excellent commute right now. Enjoy Utah's beautiful snow and whole family fun with winter tubing at Soldier Hollow in Midway. Experience longer tubing lanes, shorter lines, and more fun. Book your session now at UtahOlympicLegacy.org. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather: canyon winds will die down through the day, then high pressure moves in with pollution building up under an inversion layer. There's a chance of showers by Monday and Tuesday next week. Right now, sunny, 39 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
This opinion piece in the Deseret News, it's a brain twister for me. Jay Evanston in the house with us right now once again. Here's the headline. How this one change might affect politics in the Utah legislature. And then it goes on to say, lawmakers in the past have worried their votes might spur someone to run against them in an election near. But now the uncertainty is gone, and I'm intrigued.
One thing that I try to be very, very aware of, and I think we can all probably agree with this. Anybody in a position of power, elected officials, if they're in power, they like to stay in power. So are there ever laws that are being made, twisted, manipulated to make it easier for those in power to stay in power? And there's a little bit of that. It feels like when I heard about this story, and I heard about it from you, Jay, in your article, I didn't realize the full context, that it does have this little sense that, oh, this does make it easier for the incumbent to stay the incumbent.
So before we get too far out over our skis, let's let the listener hear what the change is, Jay, and nobody better to do it than Jay Evanston, opinion editor at the Deseret News, who wrote all about it. So what was it like before, and what is this new change?
Well, this law was passed 2 years ago, and it says that if you're running as a candidate, you have to file a declaration of candidacy between January 2nd and January 8th. So this is the first time in my memory, and I covered my first session in 1987, that you have to file as a candidate before the legislative session. Generally, it's been after. And you walk around the halls, if you've ever covered the legislature, and there are lawmakers who are worried about being primaried. I mean, you won't find that word in the dictionary, but primaried, meaning if I vote a certain way, I'm going to be challenged and somebody's going to send me to a primary election. That seems to be gone now. The certainty is you either know you have somebody running against you or you know you don't have anybody running.
Because the filing deadlines are beginning of January 2nd to January 8th. The legislative sessions typically begin mid-January. That's been pretty traditional for quite some time. The day after Martin Luther King Day, January 16th. So what you're suggesting then is they will know if they have an opponent, somebody out there who wants their seat, and that may impact how they vote and the bills that they support.
It all remains to be seen. It would seem to me that if you know you don't have any opposition, that would have an effect, because then you would be freer to maybe vote your conscience. Or if we always have these culture war type bills that are based more on emotion than on reason, and maybe you'll be more inclined to vote reason on those bills and not have to worry about the consequences.
But I think on the flip side of that, if I'm a constituent, right, and I see how somebody votes in January or February, and I just hate the direction they're headed or the way they voted in that legislative session, then that would spur me and maybe inspire me to challenge them. That seems like a good thing. Like having the history and seeing how our representatives or senators are voting and then holding them accountable, that seems very, very reasonable to me. To make me make that decision before I even see how they vote this year, that seems like, a way to sabotage potential candidates.
Accountability is something that critics have jumped on here. And we have seen in the last several years, you remember they did tax reform. They did that at the end of the session.
Yep.
And they ended up having to repeal that. But somebody could decide, I want to challenge you based on that vote. Well, now you'd have to say, no, you got to wait 2 more years to do that. The other question is whether potential candidates know about this change. It happened 2 years ago. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it. I think I'm the only journalist who's written about this. You would think that the parties would make this known, but there was an official for the United Utah Party who spoke against this and said he gets inquiries in January from people saying, I'd like to run for office. What can I do? And now he has to tell them, you have to wait 2 more years.
But on the flip side of this, if you're a lawmaker, maybe you've been an incumbent, you've been in the seat for a while, so Dave, you know the record and how they vote and what what their policies are and what committees they serve on. But if you're a lawmaker and you don't know if somebody is running against you or not after the session, do you have to go collect signatures then, like leading up to, so you can make sure you get on the primary ballot? And if you know going into the legislative session, because I don't think lawmakers can legally, if I'm not mistaken, can campaign during the session, right? They have to put campaign activities on hold to legislate. So that would put them at a bit of a disadvantage if they didn't have time regarding signature collections, Jay.
Well, they can, as a member of the legislature, they can collect signatures for their candidacy or to be on the ballot, but it is illegal for them to actively campaign or to fundraise while they're.
But if they know so what I'm saying then is just point of discussion. If they know going into the legislative session in mid-January that nobody is running against them, nobody has filed to run against them, that they don't have to go through the exercise and perhaps the expense of a couple of $1,000s of collecting signatures, right? Because they're just on the ballot.
Right.
So that could be financially helpful to a candidate. Finances are one of the hardest things to get past when you are a candidate, I think, especially at the state level when you don't have massive amounts of money coming into these campaign funds. So I wonder if by knowing ahead of time who they're going to be up against once the legislative session is over, if anybody that helps them make some financial decisions or not spend money they don't need to spend.
I think that's a good point. There are all kinds of aspects to this that we really don't know. We kind of have to live through it.
That's why I find it so intriguing.
And I asked the governor about it, and he kind of shrugged and said, we don't know. We've been talking a lot about it, but we have no idea what the real consequences will be.
If the person elected says, oh, I kind of like this idea, that should be maybe a little bit of a warning bell. If the candidate likes the change, then maybe that's not the right move forward. I absolutely want to know and have the freedom that if my representative or my senator votes a certain way in this recent session, that I can say, you know what, this has inspired me to challenge you and run against you. The fact that that's been taken away, it sits wrong with me.
And you know what this brought to my attention is that the 2024 general legislative session is just about a month away. You know, here we go again. It just comes up on us so quickly. So, Jay, thank you so much. Deseret.com, you can read all of Jay's opinions. Always fascinating. I love how you think through these things. Again, I haven't seen this covered by anybody else in the media here. Thanks for reminding us that this is going into effect, and it starts at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
This will be the first go-round where candidates will have to file their candidacy. The candidacy deadline will be between January 2nd and January 8th, so that's creeping up real quickly, too.
Correct. Thank you.
Oh.
Thanks, Jay.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We know Utah relies on KSL for balance and fair treatment.
We provide news and analysis from all sides.
Utah's Morning News from 5 to 9.
Dave and Debbie, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love to do is eat. Now, whether it's healthy food or terrible food, I just like eating. But so often the reason I don't eat healthy food is just it's inconvenient, it's not accessible. Well, Fed Up Kitchen has made it easy. It's made it accessible and affordable.
That's right. They make the food at their kitchen, so you don't have to mess up your kitchen. And then they package it up for you to either pick up, or you can even order delivery, whatever's most convenient for you. The great thing is those meals sit in your refrigerator and you just pull them out and you heat and eat. So simple, so delicious. My fave is the turkey chili cheese fries for sure.
And I love the chicken corn chowder. And right now, they're giving us a special little offer here. If you put in the promo code KSL, you're going to save an additional 20% off for your first order. So make sure you type in the promo code KSL.
Yeah, you have to do that by going to their website, fedupkitchen.com. Fedupkitchen.com is the website. Go to it now. Get that checked off your list so you can start eating healthy. It's gluten-free. It's macro-friendly. The calories are so reasonable. I think the one I had was like 350 calories, and it kept me full. So fedupkitchen.com. And what was that promo code again, Dave?
KSL. A real hard one to remember. KSL is the promo code. Get 20% off at fedupkitchen.com.
Guys, your promise is your word, right? You stick by it, you live by it. So does Revive Men's Health with our Revive Promise for low T and ED. The Revive Promise means your tests and lab work are free when you begin treatment, and our low T and ED treatments are money back guaranteed. Yes, that's right. We stand behind our treatments and our results. That's our promise to you. Revive Men's Health has successfully helped thousands of men with low T, ED, and sexual health issues since 2011. If you're experiencing symptoms like chronic low energy, less drive, sleep issues, weight gain, poor performance, bad moods, or ED, you need Revive. Don't settle. Get affordable, guaranteed custom low T and ED solutions with lasting results from Salt Lake City's favorite men's clinic. And remember, there are no extra bills when you begin treatment. All labs and tests are free, and your low T and ED treatments are money-back guaranteed. Call Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City today to schedule your appointment. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Protect your heart and your family. The American Heart Association and Live Fierce Take Action sponsor Optum urge you to get your flu shot today. Learn more at heart.org/flu.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, students in Utah doing better on the ACT college entrance exam than their peers in other states. Second, police have arrested a man who smashed windows near the front door of the Provo Temple. Third, Tesla has recalled almost all of the cars it sold over the past few years, but it says the problem can be fixed with a software upgrade. Right now, 39 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, parents, this one is for you because you might not realize how often your teenager is on social media. There's new research out by Pew that says almost constantly.
100% believe this. And the Noriega family is guilty. And not just the teens. I use it for work. I use it for entertainment. I use it for boredom. I would say almost constantly.
Pew Research, Dave, found that YouTube is by far the most popular social media app for teens.
Which I think is fascinating because if you were to ask people, hey, what social media does your kid use? Oh, Instagram or Snapchat. They'd list off everything. I don't think people view YouTube as a social media platform in the same way that they see it as TikTok.
I want to get back to that in just a moment. TikTok was second, Snapchat third, Instagram fourth, and Facebook is so far down at the bottom. It's like 19%. You practically don't even have to worry about your teen being on Facebook if you just look at the data, what Pew found. But I want to get back to YouTube. In a nutshell, describe what your kids, your teenagers watch on YouTube.
First of all, YouTube is very different than the other social media platforms because there's long format shows. So they can watch 30-minute, 45-minute, an hour-long show, and that's how my kids primarily use it. In fact, I would say it's more popular than Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. They watch far more YouTube. And some of the YouTube content is fantastic. I mean, it highly produced. Some of it is very educational. I mean, Mark Rober is one of the great scientists and has gotten my kids so excited about science. And he's just a YouTube influencer. Oh, Deb. Roberts. You probably know his niche was he would, for Porch Pirates, he would make up for people would grab the gift off someone's porch and then he would booby trap it. And as soon as people open it, it would shoot off, glitter bombs and, smelly sprays, all sorts of stuff. He was like a NASA engineer, but he does a lot of science experiments. My kids eat it up.
Tom Golightly, a psychologist with BYU, on the line with us live. There's so many layers to this, Dr. Tom. I don't know if I'm okay with the idea that teens are, and I don't have a teen anymore, but I'm thinking back when I did, like, is it okay that my teen is constantly using social media?
Well, it's probably not great, and I really connect with Dave when he says, the Noriega house is guilty, the Golightly house is guilty too, and I think intellectually we all don't want to be guilty of this, but we are, right? And the numbers kind of speak to themselves, and what we see with this, especially like Gen Z generation that's in college, just coming out of college, and in high school right now, is in a lot of ways their worth is based more on likes than the people in front of them, which is something that's really hard for us, in our generation to really understand. And so there's a lot of contradiction when they're connecting with more people in more places, but never have they felt lonelier and more anxious in their lives. It's kind of a remarkable contradiction that we've created for this upcoming generation.
What is so incredible to me, Tom, is it's so easy as a parent to just let the social media apps, YouTube, whatever it might be the babysitter. And when I say the babysitter, I'm talking about a 13-year-old kid. I can use it for that as well.
Right.
It's just I don't have to do nearly as much parenting. When I just say, just let them do it, because they will naturally gravitate to these things. I don't even need to put an iPad in front of their face and say, hey, watch this. They will naturally gravitate to it.
Well, when we think about it, you were spot on as well, kind of saying how you use YouTube. Highly produced, very pretty videos, right? And you can know as little or as much as you want about it. TikTok comes and goes pretty quickly. Yeah. But YouTube, you could spend a 5 to 10 minute, let me do a deeper dive. And then the algorithm will show up with another video that I can click on. And I can know as much as I want about a topic or as little as I want about a topic. And it all seems pretty face valid, right? Yeah. And I think that's really, really tricky when we get a teenager that likes to look at pretty things. It will grab attention and hold. And you can be on there for however long and really not even know that you've been on there for a couple of hours or 3 hours, or that you just don't ever close the app.
My Dr. Tom, my kids were on the, they were older when social media started to become a thing. But when it did become a thing, I noticed the same thing probably that Dave notices, is they kind of always have their face in their phone, or they always wanted to get on the family computer, which back in the day was in the center of the kitchen, because that's right, where it was safest, so we could see what they were actually watching. We used to take our kids like fishing and, up to the lake and up to, the Uintas on hikes to get them, and it would naturally get them away from social media. It's hard now because now you get cell service everywhere you go. So what do you suggest parents do if they feel defeated by their kids constantly wanting to look at social media?
Well, I think we can't totally eliminate if we're trying to say no all the time. We're trying to run up current, right, with the river. What I would say is work with it a little bit, meaning instead of saying no technology or no this or that, maybe have a movie night where everyone gets to make a movie and then show it as a family and we all watch it together, old school style, right? Where instead of waiting for likes on the social media, that it's the people with you. And we actually, my daughter did this with a friend group recently, and it was super fun, and they didn't post them. They just got together and watched their videos. And it was real, meaningful, in-person connection, not so-and-so from wherever liking this video, right? So we can promote that in vivo connection. The other thing is, some of why are we spending time on there? Sometimes it's to kind of avoid our own reality. So helping individuals approach their reality and cope with the things that are going on right in front of them. So some emotion regulation skills, so that we can know what our values are, define ourselves through our values, live toward our values. And most of our teenagers even would say, my value isn't just getting online and doing that. They wouldn't explain it that way, but they're definitely living their life that way. So being more intentional in creating, hey, we're going to do this deliberately, and it's going to align more with where you want to go in your life. So helping, kind of push them, nudge them in certain directions can be really, really helpful.
Tom Golightly, thank you for joining us, a clinical psychologist at BYU. And Debbie, just final thought here. Not only is YouTube by far and away the most popular social media, if you look by gender, girls tend to gravitate toward Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, but the boys, Discord and Twitch.
I don't know what Discord is.
Yeah. Stuff, we can't stay ahead of it.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Utah Governor Spencer Cox says his Christmas wish list for Utah includes more affordable housing. In a virtual town hall held on social media, he says $30 million in his proposed budget is earmarked for deeply affordable housing for families who fall below 30% of the average median income.
Sadly, right now, there are only about 3 available units for every 100 households that are below that 30% AMI. The good news is many of those below 30% AMI are in households already, but we still need more.
Other wish list items include one more winter with record snowfall and high-speed rail. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. It's called Cajun Coral, a 3D printed substitute for a natural reef. They're hoping it'll help stop the loss of shoreline in Louisiana. ABC's Jim Ryan has more.
Sport fishing attracts over 1 million anglers to Louisiana every year as the Gulf moves inland.
We are losing islands. We are losing all of this fish habitat, and nobody's helping.
Red Trasher of the state's Coastal Conservation Association says a public-private partnership is helping to rebuild the Gulf ecosystem using so-called Cajun coral. A 3D printed artificial reef has been dropped into a bay south of New Orleans to provide habitat for game fish and oysters. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up but just 9 points so far on the day, and the NASDAQ is slipped just barely below even, less than 1 point right now. And our KSL weather, looks like we're going to see more sunshine over the next couple of days. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Introducing Yes, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC plumbing and electrical brands under one roof. Maximize your energy savings with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Yes, and you could save up to $4,500 through possible tax credits and other discounts. Purchase a new system today, and Yes will buy back your old inefficient HVAC system. Visit theyesmancan.com to schedule your appointment. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
You can't expect a policeman to unclog your drain. You shouldn't ask a teacher to change your oil. And you wouldn't want a fireman to clean your teeth. So why would we let politicians take over our internet service? That's just not what they do. Experience proves government-run networks mean waste, corruption, and failure. One example, called Utopia, promised to provide internet service in 16 cities within a few years. But over 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars later, a better name would be dystopia. They say it's almost complete. We say stop wasting our money. Go to nogovinternet.com and tell lawmakers enough is enough. Local tax dollars are precious, and public employees have plenty to do already. Don't let politicians mess with our internet. Paid for by nogovinternet.com, a project of Domestic Policy Caucus.
At Common Spirit Holy Cross Hospitals, we're honored to carry the legacy of our namesake and to extend the legacy of care in our communities.
We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
With our roots in northern Utah, Common Spirit Holy Cross hospitals have a legacy of caring to help every person be whole and healthy. We're part of 20 hospitals and 240 clinics across Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Learn more at holycrossutah.org.
Cypress checking account members enjoy discounted rates on auto and RV loans, free access to credit scores reports, and other products and perks. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Cypress Credit Union. Your future is our future.
Holiday stories from Shane Company customers.
My girlfriend thinks we're going to my parents' house to decorate the tree. She has no idea that I'm actually planning to propose. The whole family's in on it, and Shane Company helped me create the perfect ring and stay within my budget. I went with a classic ring with an oval diamond. I tell you, that diamond, I can't wait to see the look on her face.
Shop the largest selection of unique engagement rings in hand-picked diamonds. 'Tis the season to shine. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Lynn Thomas.
Good morning, Dan. Looking at the I-15 and the Valley freeways, it's looking very smooth right now, indeed, matching the blue skies right now. You're also pretty good in Davis County. A little bit of slowing in Syracuse on Antelope Drive there is where Hillfield Road joins it near the high school. Otherwise, it's really looking great. Even going up to the mountains is looking pretty good. A little bit of slowing near Nordic Valley on Trappers Loop there as you come up off of I-84. The perfect present doesn't always come wrapped under the tree. Treat your loved ones with an unforgettable afternoon or evening of music and laughter with the Utah Symphony. Find your tickets at utahsymphony.org/holiday. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather. Canyon winds will die down through the day. Then high pressure moves in with pollution building up under an inversion layer. There's a chance of showers by Monday and Tuesday next week. Right now, sunny, 41 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Attorney General Sean Reyes announced last week that he will not seek re-election at the end of his term. And we have an official announcement that Derek Brown will run for AG of Utah, formerly a talk show host here at KSL News Radio.
Yeah, we know Derek. Derek's a friend. So this was a little bit of a surprise. I guess we're not that close of friends. We're work friends. But it did surprise me a little bit and this kind of came out of nowhere. There was a little bit of an exploratory committee, and now he's made it official. He's running for AG.
I want to walk back to last week when current Attorney General Sean Reyes announced he will not be running for re-election. I was on my way out of town. I was boarding a plane, and I saw he'd posted a video, rather lengthy video, to YouTube. And he shared more details about why, about his record. That he's been an AG for, 10 years or will be AG for 10 years. And he also released that video. So here's KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe to break it down for us.
I do believe I would win, but winning another election would keep me from even more important personal priorities. After much prayer and reflection, I know after one more year in office, it will be time to return to my family without an emergency case or crisis constantly pulling me away.
Reyes says he will continue his current term through January 2025. The Utah Democratic Party has released a statement saying Reyes should resign immediately. He's faced criticism lately connected to his relationship with Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard. Reyes says he's met with the people accusing Ballard of misconduct, and he says he plans to work with them in the future to offer support and resources.
Yeah, this is the third time where our attorney general in the state, has left or had some sort of drama surrounding. We had Mark Shurtleff, we had John Swallow, and now Sean Reyes, where it does feel like maybe some outside pressures force them out.
Derek Brown, you officially announced you're running for AG. Also, of course, a former host of KSL at Night here at KSL News Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be with you. And do I have to start by kind of apologizing to Dave? Because it sounds like he's wondering how good of friends we are.
Well,
are we just work friends, or are we like genuinely friends?
We seemed like they were the last to know, and we're also the last to have you on the air in terms of talk shows. It sounds like were you on yesterday with Boyd? I was out of town, Derek, and I know this is harsh news, but I was in Miami where it's 75 and sunny. So were you on yesterday making this announcement official?
Yes. We spent some time yesterday with Boyd and talked through the campaign and kind of just why it is I'm running for Attorney General, what's going on, and what I expect to do. And so it's going to be an exciting road ahead.
Okay, well, give us an idea. What do you want to do, and is this position jinxed?
Well, the answer is no. It's not, and I mean I look forward to bringing a level of transparency and workability to the office. I mean the reality is the Attorney General's office, and not everyone kind of that I've talked to really knows what that office does. I mean obviously there's a criminal component, and protecting children is one of the special sort of statutory requirements that you can that office is involved with, but it's also the state's law firm. I mean, the Attorney General is running the largest law firm in the state. You've got 226 attorneys. You've got over 500 people doing everything from investigations to the administrative work. And it's critical that our state have a law firm that is effective, efficient, and is the most modernized law firm in the state because they provide legal advice for something like 60 different state agencies and boards and commissions and the universities. And so that's one of the critical components, is making certain that office is run well and that it's funded well as well.
Derek Brown officially announcing that he's running for the Attorney General. Sean Reyes will serve out his term, and he announced last week that he won't be seeking re-election. Derek, I believe it was the governor. It would probably have to be the governor, or at least maybe it was in some lawmakers. I'm trying to think back in my memory bank that have touted, or at least thought and kind of floated the idea of making the AG position not an elected office, but rather an appointed office. And I thought, that's kind of an interesting approach, because what happens when AGs are elected and they get wrapped up in scandal is they serve out their term, and oftentimes, because it's a very Republican-leaning state, they get reelected again. And it doesn't. It's tricky with the roles that they play, in terms of legal advice and that kind of thing. Well, what do you think of the governor makes this an appointed position? Would you be mad at him for that? Because then, at least you wouldn't have to raise campaign funds. Maybe you could lobby for him to appoint you.
Well, here's the reality is there are 43 states that currently do a direct election of the Attorney General. I mean, Utah is one of them. And for that to ever change, that would be something that the people of Utah would have to decide, because that would be a constitutional change. Personally, I don't support the idea. I think having a direct election of the Attorney General is a great way to keep the position not only responsive to the people of Utah, but also there is a level of transparency and accountability. I mean, it's hard to hold people accountable, including the governor, when the governor is the one that makes that appointment. And so I think the way that we do it is a good system, and it involves the voters of Utah making that decision. And in terms of accountability, I don't think there's any better accountability mechanism than the voters making a decision on the election or re-election of the person that's in there.
Oh, I totally agree. In fact, even if you look at our federal government that does appoint an attorney general, you can absolutely see the ties and kind of the conflict between the person that is appointing, and you serve at the pleasure of the president, and someone that is independently elected.
Exactly. And so that's one of the problems I have. I mean, I understand why that's been floated, but ultimately, I think the system that we have works. I think it works well, and I think that ultimately, if that change is going to be made, that's a decision that goes to the voters of Utah, and currently they're the ones that make that decision. And so, as Attorney General, the reality is you're running a law firm and you have one client, and that client is the people of the state of Utah.
Derek Brown, thank you so much for jumping on the line. We were the last to know, but that's okay.
I didn't even know you were a lawyer. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes, he is.
That's my background. That's ironically, so I start off with the former co-host of KSL at night, but my background is I worked at 2 large law firms and clerked with a federal judge. So that's the part of me, Dave. You don't.
This
know.
isn't out of left field. This isn't okay. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good to know.
Does that office have to be occupied by an attorney?
Yes,
it does.
It does. And
it
so
does.
it's someone who, and that's why being an attorney, makes a lot of sense in terms of the fact that you are running a law firm, and that's one of the key components of the position.
Yeah, I've never doubted that it had to be, but I've just thought,
we just
I've also
kind of
never
assume
asked
sometimes.
The question.
The funny thing, Debbie, is I don't believe that being a lawyer is a requirement to be a Supreme Court justice, because I believe in the past there have actually been one or two that weren't, and so it's actually a legitimate question.
Yeah. Well, I try to ask legitimate questions at least once a day. Derek, thank you so much. Don't be a stranger around here. You know the phone number. Thank you so much. And of course, as soon as somebody else announces they're running against you, we will put them on the air too.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're expanding Dave and Dujanovic on KSL.
Now they'll be live on Fridays.
Starting in January, hear Dave and Debbie at 9 and the movie show at 11.
Finally, Friday on KSL News Radio.
Some stories affect our roads.
Not enough detail in the environmental impact study could likely pause the gondola.
Some affect the taxes we pay.
$61 billion in aid for Ukraine.
Some stories affect everyone.
Just rent, because buying is so unachievable.
As 2023 comes to a close, no matter the news story, traffic jam, or winter storm most important to you, we'll talk about it here.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky to get one video to load on the desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out all the time, and internet that can power a house full of devices at once with ultra-low lag. So while one person streams a movie in their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet with Wi-Fi equipment included. It's all just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile and unlimited data at regular rates. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary. The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Does it matter?
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Utah's governor is a frequent critic of social media. That didn't keep him from holding a virtual town meeting last night. Second, the president's son, Hunter Biden, refused to testify to a congressional committee unless the hearing was public. And third, one of the possible solutions to shoreline erosion in Louisiana is something called Cajun coral, an artificial reef that comes from a 3D printer. Right now, 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I am so grateful for Hugo Ricard-Bell, one of our many fabulous reporters here at KSL News Radio, and also the work of his friend and colleague, Kyle Dunphy, partners at the Deseret News, for looking into this for the last 8 months, and that is domestic violence in Utah and taking us inside the homes of people who are beaten, whose children watch their moms get beaten. I want Dave to give a little warning here. You're really good about that.
Yeah, I think so often when we have important but sensitive conversations on the radio, we understand that you may have little ones in the car. This would probably be best to podcast at a later time. But yeah, we just want to give a little ears warning.
Let's bring Hugo into the fold right away. Hugo, you've been covering this for 8 months, and it's now in podcast form for our listeners to find at KSL Podcasts on our podcast platform. But take us inside and give us an idea, a taste of what you experienced and why you set out on this journey to find out more about what's going on behind closed doors inside Utah homes.
Well, to be honest, so for listeners who don't know, I typically cover public safety. That's sort of my beat, and I largely focus on a lot of refugees and immigration and that sort of thing. But obviously, under that bracket, a lot of things like crime, and obviously part of crime is a lot of murders. And we didn't, Kyle Dunphy and we're adjacent, so he does the same thing, but for Deseret News, or did. And we're good friends outside of work, and we were just talking about the fact that we covered 5 or 6 murders that involved husbands or even sons or whatever, killing their mothers or their wives or that sort of thing. And it was just one case in particular. A 16-year-old girl came home after high school and found her mother dead, and then her father had died by suicide. And it was just, we were just sitting around talking about it, and were going, surely there's something going on. And we didn't even, I didn't even register domestic violence until a good month into looking into this, and so we didn't really approach it going, we need to find out about domestic violence. It was just bit by bit, it just collated and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we just held on to it, and then we decided to pitch it for more of a longer form podcast and
it's almost an hour now in podcast form.
Yeah.
I want to play. I was so grateful to this woman you interviewed, quite in depth. Her name is Lindsay. You did not give her last name for reasons that are quite understandable. I was grateful to her for sharing so much of what she went through for so long. I think she said she was married for it went on for almost 20 years. So this will give our listeners an example of what they'll hear. I mean, it is very raw and it is very real.
He swung around and hit me on the side of the head, and I fell to the bed, and he got on top of me and started choking me, and I remember strangling me, I guess. I don't know what phrase to use. And he started screaming, "Why won't you let me love you?"
Now is probably a good time to mention that all three of Lindsay's children were present during the whole thing.
I didn't know what to do. I was in complete shock. He took our youngest and he locked himself in his gun room with her, and I could hear him telling her that she was never going to see me again.
That, I don't even know how to respond to that, because so often we don't get the firsthand response, especially in these kind of violent situations. Number one, people aren't willing to share because it is brutally honest and it's horrifying to admit. And then other times it's too late and that person's been killed.
And, just to sort of fill listeners in on behind the scenes, to get Lindsay to agree to sit down with us, that took months. I caught up with her for coffee after shifts multiple times driving down to Spanish Fork or even further to meet up with her. So did Kyle. We then, we did the interview in her home, which I think was, we did the interviews in where the people, felt comfortable. So when we did Lieutenant Governor, we did it in her office. Greg Scortis, that was in his office. Spencer Cannon, police officer in Spanish Fork, we did that in one of the interview rooms. We took the interviews to where the domestic violence side of their life in the system gets sort of played out. And Lindsay took a long time to sort of
she had to trust you.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that it's just being a reporter for so long too, as you have been for many years. It just requires trust, and she had to feel like she could trust you and feel comfortable with you being the one to tell her story and telling so much of her story. Can I just play a little more of Lindsay's story? And she points out, and rightfully so, this is so important. So if you're listening to this podcast, we now know and we understand that it is not always a bruise on your eye, okay? It is not because always that you got punched in the head. There are many forms of domestic violence and domestic abuse that we now as a society understand and recognize.
So I feel like at the first it was very much control and emotional abuse, just making me feel like I couldn't do anything without him, and I wasn't anything without him, and all I was his children's mother. I wasn't even my own human. I was just there to take care of him and the kids. I would wake up and I would lay his clothes out on the bed and I would pack his lunch for work. I got him up and sent him off to work. And so it never felt like I was a human.
She lost herself in her marriage.
Yeah. And just to address one of the other reasons why we started going down this was because of the amount of victims that we were finding coming across our desk. And it was sort of I suppose, and, Dave, I'm sure you can relate to this. I can't imagine pulling a trigger on someone that I'm supposed to love. And I don't think anyone really can, but it happens. And so I guess we were sort of looking at, why is it, are these murders premeditated? Are they in a fit of rage? Is it alcohol? Is it substance abuse? Is it, an accident? Is it a threat with a firearm that they think isn't loaded? Is it because that firearm's right next to their, bedside table and they can just reach for it in a fit of rage and yell expletives or whatever, and the gun goes off? And that was something that we sort of looked into and sort of discussed with people like Spencer Cannon and Greg Scortis and that sort of thing as well.
You also were able to speak to our lieutenant governor, who has spoken several times, and even on this show, she shared the story of how domestic violence affected her life.
I remember seeing a news alert on the drive-in that morning that there had been a shooting in Taylorsville. And when I got up around lunchtime and was walking out of my office, I looked at my phone and I saw a text from my mother that said that the victim was Mandy, my cousin, Amanda Main.
Her cousin was killed waiting at a bus stop by her husband.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing that came into outside of reporting is the restricted person angle. Her ex-husband was a restricted person.
Couldn't own a firearm.
Wasn't allowed, but was still able to get one pretty easily, or wasn't able to have one taken off him and that sort of thing. So we sort of dived into those, that side of politics as well. But, this story isn't all doom and gloom. There are actually a lot of things happening in the domestic violence world. There are a lot of bills getting passed. I think in 2018, 7 bills got sponsored, only 3 passed. Last year, or this year, I should say, 9 out of 10 passed. So there is an active effort to improve safety and legislation around that in areas you would never expect.
Can we talk to you more about that tomorrow on the show, Hugo?
Yeah.
Remind our listeners where they can find this new podcast that just launched.
So anywhere you get your podcast on the KSL In-Depth, so if you type in KSL In-Depth, and it's called Like the Back of His Hand, a roadmap to domestic violence in Utah.
Like the back of his hand.
A roadmap to domestic violence in Utah.
It's extremely excellent reporting by both you and Kyle at the Deseret News. Hugo Ricard Bell, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour: one social media site being used by teenagers more than any other. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit reports.
You're probably thinking TikTok dominates the teenage demographic, but YouTube beats out the short video platform. This finding comes from a new Pew Research study, and in it, we learned roughly 9 out of 10 teenagers are on YouTube, with 16% saying they're constantly visiting the platform.
KSL News Radio's Michael Commit. The Salt Lake City Planning Commission is rebounding from a close call after a string of resignations. The team didn't have enough members to host a meeting this month. Andrea Gent was the latest to resign last month, arguing the team lacks expertise. The required 9th member of the commission was appointed last night, and the meeting will be held this evening. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hunter Biden, President Biden's son, refused to testify to a congressional inquiry today because it wasn't being held in public. House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan explains why it's being held behind closed doors.
We're disappointed that he didn't show up. I mean, he was just across the way at the Capitol. You'd think he could have come here and set the questions. If you do it in an open format now, you're going to get filibusters, you're going to get speeches, you're going to get all kinds of things. What we want is the facts.
During the first impeachment inquiry against former President Trump, Republicans were the ones who wanted those depositions to take place in public. Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average up, but just barely, 5 points or so. The NASDAQ is down about 12. And our KSL weather: we could get another inversion layer before things clear up again. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
You know, many times when you have somebody come out to your house to do some work and they're giving you a bid, what they'll do is they're like, oh, it'll take, just a few hours, 3 or 4 hours. This is what we charge hourly, and they give you an hourly bid. Well, what happens when that job goes a little bit longer? Well, then it starts costing you more, and that bid that you got, the dollar amount that you're wrapping your head around, that's not what it is.
And that's not what happens when you call Master Electrical. Master Electrical has upfront pricing. They have their upfront pricing guarantee. And what that means is just what it says. The quote that you get up front is the guaranteed price that you're going to pay at the end of the job.
Well, and there's also a concern that are you going to get upcharged? Are they going to make you buy a different version? Or no, you're not going to get the upcharge. Their pricing system simply won't allow it.
So whatever your electrical needs are, you know what they are. You know those lights in your home need to be updated. You know that the smoke detector hasn't been working properly. You know that, you need electrical work done before the family shows up for the holidays. They'll be your go-to, Master Electrical, and they're even open for emergencies.
Yeah, from Logan to Santaquin, all you have to do is give them a call, 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
Or, as Dave always likes to do, make sure you check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Do you ever feel like getting your supplies for your CPAP is just a huge headache? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. We'll say goodbye to the hassle and hello to a stress-free life with our CPAP resupply service. Signing up is a breeze. Just place a call, choose your products, and leave the insurance billing and shipping to us. Our discreet packaging prioritizes your privacy, and we always ensure an on-time delivery. No more trips to the store or worrying about running out of important supplies. We get how crucial your CPAP therapy is, so don't let the stress of keeping up with it affect your sleep and health. Join Alpine Resupply today and enjoy a tranquil night's sleep with all your CPAP essentials. Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. Inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Completely immerse yourself in University of Utah sports with the free Utah 360 app. Behind-the-scenes exclusives, local KSL coverage, game stats, and more. Download for free in the App Store or Google Play Store.
Dear Santa, thank you so much for remembering me this year. Christmas was the best. Thank you for the shoes, and I love the coat you brought. It's so cute and so warm.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at kslquarters.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Lynn Thomas.
Well, if you got a slow roll northbound I-15 in South Salt Lake, a crash at 27th South, traffic jamming from just north of 45th South of this crash at 27th South. But it is now moving fairly well, so it's picking up speed right now. Another crash reported southbound I-15 at Pleasant Grove Boulevard on the 15 on the right shoulder. Not much slowing there. Also a crash in the scanner at 7th East and 2100 South near there. That's going to slow you down there as you make your way through that area toward Sugar House. There are 500 homeless who remain unsheltered every night, sleeping in the streets. You can help the Rescue Mission of Salt Lake restore lives. Visit rescuesaltlake.org. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, canyon winds will die down through the day. And then high pressure moves in with pollution building up under an inversion layer. And there's a chance of showers by Monday and Tuesday next week. Right now, sunny and 43 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Our producer working behind the scenes to get somebody from the city of Tooele to give us a jingle on this new policy at the city's animal shelter. And the lieutenant of the police department is live on the line, Dave. But if you missed our top story this morning, there's been a shift in the city's policy regarding taking in animals, like rescuing animals and adopting animals. They posted it on Facebook, and the comments are on fire. People are not happy about this change. What they're saying is that basically, if you don't have a badge, if you're not a cop, and if you're not, with animal control, you can no longer, as a member of the public, drop off a stray dog or stray cat that you find, or maybe a dog you don't want anymore, at the animal shelter.
And why? Because they're overwhelmed. They don't have the resources. They don't have the space. They just can't keep taking animal after animal. In fact, Debbie, I was just pulling up my local animal shelter in Davis County, and sure enough, there's Mr. Squeakers, there's Eleanor,
buddy.
There's a hedgehog. I didn't even know you could get a hedgehog, but apparently somebody just drops the hedgehog off at Animal Services. That's in addition to all the dogs and cats.
We're going to get the lieutenant on the line in just a moment, but I want to make sure I mention that in lieu of being able to take them to the shelter, the city did say, well, you can take them to a rescue organization. But people were pushing back, saying this is insanity because so many rescue organizations either don't have the funds to care for all of these animals, unwanted or stray pets, and some of them are operated out of homes. They don't have the space. Lieutenant Jeremy Hansen with the Tooele City Police Department live on the line. How'd you draw the short straw to call the show today, Lieutenant?
Because I'm our department's public information officer, and honestly, the shelter was transferred under my command as of yesterday morning, so it's kind of a two-part.
Okay, so you are now the commander over the animal shelter?
Yeah, so the animal shelter used to be under the police department up until about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, and it was under the direction of the assistant chief, but then it went to Parks and Recreation under their department, and is now back under the police department, so I'm going to be supervising it.
I'd like to know what's going on right now, because I think so often the shelters have been used almost conveniently because people, get a dog, they realize the dog's more work than they think. So let's just, instead of selling it or trying to find another home, let's just drop it off at the shelter. What is maybe the purpose of the shelter? Just clarify for the community what a shelter should be used for.
So with our shelter, like you mentioned, we have been at maximum capacity for a substantial amount of time. It was to the point where the animal control officers would be investigating a dog bite or an animal attack, and we didn't have anywhere to take that animal because the shelter was full with adoptions and animals that were going to be transferred to the rescues. So this change is made by the mayor and the department heads is one of public safety. We have to have somewhere to take these aggressive animals. That public safety has to be our number one priority. We are still working with the Rescue Best Friends. We are in contract with another rescue that's local out here called Golden Bone Inn. So we understand that, the public's concerned. We're trying to find a balance between public safety, the strain on the animal shelter and the employees, and help take care of these animals. That's the main objective for this.
Lieutenant Jeremy Hansen from the Tooele City Police Department live on the line. Why is a police officer live on the line with us talking about animal services and the change there? It's because he's now the commander over animal services for Tooele City, which made a shift, announced it on Facebook yesterday, that it's no longer in the animal pet rescue business and the adoption business, that in fact it'll be open only to people who carry a badge, who need to bring in a dog for whatever reason, for dog bite or a dog at large, but not for the public. A lot of people, and I think this is a concern out there because you got the West Desert, there's a lot of open land out there. A lot of people are worried that if somebody cannot find a rescue in that area, and you just named, I only heard 2, I mean, I'm a little concerned there's not going to be enough room there either for these animals, that they're just going to be dumped off in the West Desert somewhere, Lieutenant. Has this been discussed as a potential issue?
We're encouraging and welcoming any other rescues that want to partner with us to contact us. This is just the initial phase. We understand that people are going to be upset, but Tooele City is the only animal shelter. Our mayor went to the other government agencies within the Tooele Valley and wanted to talk about a regional shelter, and those talks failed. And going back to your point, we have people that live outside the city that try to bring their animal to Tooele City to surrender it. We tell them we can only accept Tooele City animals, and so they give it to their family member who lives in the city, who then surrenders it. So we're overrun by trying to facilitate this service for the entire county, and we can't sustain those levels of animals in the shelter. We have to have somewhere where we can take these aggressive dogs or dogs that have attacked and killed wildlife. That has to be our main priority.
Are there incentives available to some of these nonprofit organizations to take in some of these animals?
So Golden Bone Inn, we're still working out a contract with them, so I really don't know the ins and outs of it because it's not finalized, but we are working with them. We're hoping that some other rescues can help alleviate. We're not wanting to just do away with the animals, and we're not saying we don't care about the animals. We do. We just have to refocus our kennel space. That's really what it comes down to.
And then maybe you can help give us some context. How many kennel spaces do you have at the city animal shelter?
So there's, on the main dog population side, there's only 20. And then there's, I believe, 4 quarantine kennels. So that's not a lot of room. Our shelter is too small and is not adequate to handle a countywide problem. Like I said, the mayor has met with the other government entities, and the talks didn't go anywhere. The mayor has pushed for a regional shelter. It's just not currently an option.
So has there been any discussion, and as always, right when we want to ask all the questions, we're running out of time, Lieutenant, but what about a little tax increase or something on the residents of Tooele? Not that I'm trying to push the issue on them, but there's a lot of people who are really on fire on Facebook about this. I wondered if they'd step up with some money to build a better shelter or more space. Has that been discussed?
That would be something. I mean, that'd be way above my pay grade, right? That'd be a mayor and city council thing. But keeping in mind, you're right. Anytime there's mention of taxes being raised, there's always pushback. So there's going to be pushback from either side.
But for now, the policy is intact, correct?
Yes, it went into effect yesterday. The reason for having the animal control or police officers we're trying to alleviate those animals from outside Tooele City limits that are being dropped off and abandoned in the city or being turned in by somebody else. If we can physically go to somebody's house and if it's an animal that's showing aggression and they want to fill out a witness statement saying this animal has aggression, I can no longer keep it, or this animal bit my child, we're still going to be taking those types of surrenders. We're trying to take the aggressive animals and the animals that are prone to attack. That's going to be the focus. And then we're hoping the rescue groups can help alleviate some of the overpopulation in our shelter.
Lieutenant Jeremy Hansen, thank you for joining us from the Tooele City Police Department.
I'm not sure that cleared anything up for our listeners, but at least he was willing to give us some more information on how that new policy is going to work going forward. And it sounds like it took effect yesterday.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Treat yourself to the depth and analysis on Inside Sources.
Floyd Matheson goes beyond the headlines of the biggest stories
Listen to Inside Sources from 1 to 3
on KSL News Radio.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Wednesday, December 13th, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy. Pretty much hands off, They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Guys, does she need a little escape this year? Introducing Cozy Escape Pajamas from Pajamagram, America's PJ experts. These PJs are just the getaway she needs. So take that time off and plan a holiday staycation. Cozy Escape Pajamas make the perfect gift for your special someone who deserves a little rest and relaxation. Treat her to luxurious next-level cozy signature soft fleece. They're as light as a dream and will keep her oh so warm, like snuggling in her favorite blanket. She'll love to cuddle in Cozy Escape PJs on those extra chilly nights. With Pajamagram, you can even add gift packaging. Order now for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. She's missed out on a lot of things she loves this year, so this Christmas, give her the escape she deserves. These new PJs are selling fast, so order today. Go to pajamagram.com right now. That's pajamagram.com to order Cozy Escape Pajamas. Pajamagram.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. With new customer expectations and consumption channels, the customer journey is increasingly more complex across marketing, sales, and service teams. While technology can help ease these complexities, when software is cobbled together, it creates siloed teams, inaccurate data, and a disjoint experience. That's where Growl comes in. CEO Greg Olson joins us with more.
Growl has been in business for over 13 years with offices in Salt Lake City and Grand Junction, Colorado. We empower businesses to tell their story and maximize revenue through software utilization. Growl's marketing and technology solutions are crafted, not cobbled. We implement advanced software like HubSpot to create a connected customer experience and establish a single source of truth for data. This enables businesses to initiate the right conversations with the right people at the right time, making meaningful relationships throughout the customer journey. Here's a stat for our listeners. Businesses that have an integrated marketing, sales, and service tech stack see a 51% increase in deals won compared to customers that have a siloed tech stack. Beyond marketing and sales software implementation, we focus on marketing and sales strategy. We build trackable cross-channel campaigns that increase our clients' bottom line and shorten sales cycles. Find out more at growlagency.com/SLCC.
Growl is a marketing agency rooted in technology and passionate about helping customers put their clients at the center of business decisions. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, turns out YouTube is the internet platform teens use most, more than TikTok or Instagram. Second, Salt Lake City's Planning Commission has been struggling just to hold meetings. Third, Republicans are criticizing Hunter Biden's decision not to testify as part of the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Right now, 43 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
We understand that back in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, the debate is starting. The vote will happen at 3 o'clock our time this afternoon, or at least it's expected to, regarding the House deciding if they want to go forward with an impeachment inquiry about the president.
Do we have that a little bit that we could dip into? Is there anything live going on?
I think it's airing right now.
I think it's in C-SPAN.
Just the feed. Okay, our producer just said the feed just ended. It was coming to us from PBS. Okay, and let me see if I can find some audio on that, Dave. We just wrapped that up. Here we go. I found it.
Since September, the House has been engaged in an impeachment inquiry examining whether sufficient grounds exist for the House to exercise constitutional power to impeach the President of the United States. Today's resolution simply formalizes that inquiry and grants the House full authority to enforce its subpoenas that have been denied as recently as today.
Yeah, and what he's talking about is there was a subpoena where they wanted President Biden's son, Hunter, to come testify and answer some questions. And Hunter didn't show up this morning. He said, I'll talk to you guys. I just want it in a very public forum. They're like, no, we're going to do it behind closed doors. We dictate this, not you. And he said, no, I'm not showing up. And he didn't.
And right after he didn't show up, Representative Blake Moore said, although he didn't watch the news conference that the president's son held outside of the Capitol or in Washington, he did join us to talk about why the House wants this impeachment inquiry.
All that does is it gives us more subpoena power to uncover more information from the White House. They're saying they won't provide any more information unless there's a vote. And so we're going to go through a vote. And that's as simple as that is, just to get more information, to get the facts laid out.
Dave, why don't you give us the background on why and how we've gotten to this point?
Yeah, trying to boil it down is a little tricky. So this is going to be such an oversimplification. But I think it's important to overly simplify it, because if we can't explain easily what's going on, then it's just too muddled. So here's the problem. As soon as President Biden finishes being vice president, his son, Hunter Biden, starts getting put on these boards all across the world. So the one you've probably heard of is Burisma, which was an energy company in Ukraine.
So it's like a corporate
It's a corporate board. Yeah, it's a paid corporate board.
And this is the point where Congressman Blake Moore told us he probably isn't the kind of guy that would sort of land on boards, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
he just said like,
what in the world? Why in the world would Hunter Biden, who has no experience really in any connection to the energy industry, be put on a foreign country's energy board? Like, that's probably at the heart of the question.
It seems suspicious.
It just seems, very odd.
Okay,
so and we all know the answer, right? I mean, it's very obvious. He has the Biden name. So being able to use his influence, his dad's very influential. The argument is that he was peddling influence, that he was put on that board because his dad's super powerful and his dad can perhaps make something happen. So that is the argument. It's the only reason he's sitting on this board is because of his dad.
Okay, so then now we're here. Okay, so he's on boards.
Yeah, and it's not just in Ukraine.
How does that get us to an impeachment inquiry?
It's in Romania. It's in China. So he's making millions of dollars. Okay. And his taxes have shown this, where he's made a lot of money, millions of dollars. Now, this is where the impeachment inquiry comes in. The question is, did any of that money, either directly from Hunter Biden, make its way back to dad? Or did these companies in other countries, did they send money to Joe Biden or Joe Biden's family through other shell companies? Were they funneling money to him in different ways, maybe technically legal, but maybe a little seedy? And that's fundamentally what they're trying to figure out is, did any of that influence, did any of those countries funnel money to Joe Biden or Joe Biden's family in, kind of this quid pro quo?
And Congressman Blake Moore talked about IRS whistleblowers coming forth to the House and testifying that they believed that the Justice Department was slow walking the investigation regarding Hunter Biden's taxes, which we now know have bubbled up finally in criminal court. But the question is were they just kind of slow walking that? And that's why Congressman Blake Moore says for a lot of other reasons, this impeachment inquiry is necessary.
And we can show that the Department of Justice went easy on them. Like, the American people need to know that. If it takes an impeachment trial, if it takes an impeachment inquiry vote, like, I'm okay with that.
So to what you laid out, was Hunter Biden put in positions on boards because of his dad's influence? That's one issue. And then the other issue then becomes, did the Justice Department do Hunter Biden any favors by not aggressively investigating allegations of tax evasion, which it finally obviously did because he's now been indicted. But were they just slow walking that, maybe hoping it would go away? That's what it sounds like Congress wants to find out.
And those are two separate situations.
Right.
One is Hunter Biden is going to have to answer for his own taxes, his own filings, his own criminal charges. The impeachment inquiry is, did any of that financial stuff and the impropriety bleed over directly to the president?
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good